Alrighty, good evening, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron back here once again. I'm here to give you guys a live stream going over the latest information, all the good data, and everything like that here. So, a couple of things I want to kind of talk to you guys about is, first off, this is the current winter weather alerts. There's been some minimum changes to the alerts here. Polk County, along with Montgomery County, has been, which is POPE, not Polk, POPE, Polk County up there in Russellville along 40. That county and also Montgomery County has been upgraded from winter weather advisory to a winter storm warning, where they have seen some significant snowfall accumulations over there at this current time here. So this advisory and the warning is going to go until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. There's been a lot of questions about, is it going to get expanded to central Arkansas, stuff like that. I'm going to tell you guys how it is. Little Rock's not planning on extending this into central Arkansas because they don't believe that we're going to see the accumulations or anything like that in terms of like road problems and everything like that here. So I've seen situations before where you can get winter weather outside of the advisory. However, they're currently not expecting any travel issues here. So that's the current plan with that here. But as I said before, winter weather advisory goes from basically Clay County, all the way down to Perry and Garland County, down to Howard and Sevier County down there in southwestern Arkansas. Winter storm warning remains in effect for western, northwestern, and much of north central Arkansas here. So let's go ahead and talk about current radar at this current time here. And bear my eyes for just a second because there's a light right here. I'm going to switch this over to our radar real quickly, okay? So there's current heavy rainfall across much of central Arkansas right now. There have been some mixed reports of sleet and snow with this at this point. Up here in northwestern Arkansas, primarily up here in Benton County, up here in northwestern Arkansas, you guys have been actually getting a little bit of dry slotting and some rainfall at times up here. So that's very interesting how this system is, even though it's further to the south, the temperatures are, it's really calling this system right now here. So Little Rock has fallen to 36 degrees. So I'll be real interested to see what happens as temperatures can continue to get colder across the state here. So let's go ahead and zoom this down, and you can see now Russellville, and this is all snow. And by the way, I want to stress this too, and we'll see if I can change the tilt of this real fast here. So give me just 1 second. Let me see if I can just change the tilt, because what's going on is some folks are experiencing snow where the radar is seeing sleet or heavy rainfall here. So just keep that in mind here. Radar is only going to be your best friend for some places, mainly in southern and southeastern Arkansas. But up here, where it's indicating sleet, is likely snow ongoing at this current time. So something that we're going to continue to monitor as we get later into this evening and into tonight. But I do fully expect for our folks, especially in central Arkansas, to get into this winter weather event as we get towards later on this evening and into the nighttime hours here. Now in southeastern Arkansas, unfortunately, like I mentioned before, you had that warm air advection down here. I'm not really expecting a lot of snowfall or anything like that down here in southeastern Arkansas, but I've heard some mixed reports, especially near the Pine Bluff area, of some sleet kind of mixing in that time. So I'd say probably roughly from, let's zoom down a little bit, I'd say from probably Pine Bluff over to DeWitt, over towards West Helena and Forest City. We'll have to keep an eye on that at this point in terms of some sleet probably accumulating over here, ongoing with the rainfall, but the accumulating precipitation will probably be closer to I-30, the 167 corridor, and then further to the west and northwest from there. So I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of things here. So let's go over to this. As I mentioned before, there's the winter storm warning for western and northwestern Arkansas. Let's talk about this because everybody's seeing different precipitation across the state right now. You've got snow, you've got sleet. Luckily, no freezing rain's been reported, and then you got straight rain. So how does this all work? And like I mentioned before in previous live streams, it's all about the column. It's all about what's going on above our heads coming down to the surface. So to get snow, you have to be 32 degrees all the way through to get the snowfall, because the snow doesn't melt while it's going through that column. But your surface temperatures can be 35, 36, even in some cases 37 degrees, and still get snowfall. So just keep that in mind. That means your entire column is below 32 degrees, but at the surface, if you're 36, 37, you can still see snow. Sleet is you have the snow falling. There's that thin layer of warm air just enough to melt it somewhat, and then it gets right back into the sub-freezing air before it hits the surface, and that's where you get the sleet to occur. Freezing rain, like I mentioned before, we're not dealing with it, fortunately enough. However, with freezing rain, what that would work is snow would be falling. There's a pretty massive warm air aloft. Normally you'll have like 40 to 50 degrees above your head, and then it will fall as rain, but the ground, your surface, is like 28, 29, 30, 31 degrees, and that's where it freezes on contact. So keep that in mind across the board, and then you guys know about regular rain, falls as snow, completely warm all the way through, even down to the surface, and that's how you get the rainfall potential here. Now, let's talk about accumulations here. Now, I'm going to show you 2 accumulation maps at this point. This one is our current accumulation map. This is the one we're still going with. Now, obviously, this is probably going to overperform in a lot of areas, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Probably Conway, Russellville, Fort Smith, probably down in southwestern Arkansas, Mena, Waldron. There's going to be a lot of areas over here that it's probably going to overperform significantly. Now, flip side of that coin, northwestern Arkansas, there's going to be some areas that it underperforms because there's a dry slotting going through western Arkansas right now, and it may cut some areas up there in northwestern Arkansas. So just kind of keep that in mind. As I mentioned before, these are called potential snowfall totals, not a 100% guarantee that you're going to see. It's just something to kind of forecast and give you a perspective on what we're looking here. But this is what we got to trace. To 1 inch from DeQueen up to the Metro, up to Jonesboro at this time here. We opted not to increase it and just kind of let it overperform and keep you guys updated for radar and stuff like that. However, I want to bring you to this total map that we made a couple of days ago. So this is probably the only place that you probably saw this accumulation map, but this is what we had at first. This is what we had. We had up there northwestern Arkansas, the Ozarks 6 to 10, 1 and 3 here in Little Rock, and then down in southwestern Arkansas 1 and 2. So this one may verify a lot more versus the one we currently have, and the one we had this morning is because data was trending warmer. We were uncertain about if it was going to extend that far south and everything like that. So we may see this one kind of verify a little bit more versus the other one at this current time here. So we'll keep an eye on that, as I mentioned before. Make sure you stay with us for the latest updates here. Now, let's talk about Futurecast real quick. And once I get to Futurecast, I'm going to answer some questions here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to jump over to the HR. Now, this is the HR, and it's hour by hour at this point. Let me see if I can back this up. And it's right around, let's go back to, give me 1 second. It's got to reload itself. All right, so there's 7 p.m., okay? So I'm going to stop it right here. Snow ongoing across western Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas, and north central Arkansas. Sleet and rainfall for much of central and down into the I-30 area. And then in eastern Arkansas, heavy rainfall. Now, let's take this out as we get towards later on this evening here. So you can see, I would say for the Little Rock area, probably within the next 2 to 4 hours, you should transition over to all snow or snow and sleet mix as your loft temperatures cool even further with the system beginning to approach from the southwest. So keep that in mind. I am expecting winter weather here. Winter weather is definitely on the table for our folks in central Arkansas now, down to southwestern Arkansas, western and northern Arkansas at this current time here. But you can see right there in Little Rock where that orange and that blue kind of combine. That's where you have the potential of snow and sleet as we get towards 8 o'clock this evening here. Now, let's take this out a little bit further. And as you can see, by the time we get towards 9 o'clock, you're starting to make that transition over to all snow for us here in central Arkansas. And in northern Arkansas, man, you guys are getting a good amount up there of snowfall. And that does include the areas that we were concerned about at first, which is the Jonesboro area. So Jonesboro, look at it for right around that 8, 9 o'clock p.m. time frame at this time. So it's not going to be, something super significant, but central Arkansas, you guys know how travel is. You know how it is, especially downtown. If you got to get out, I'd go ahead and knock it out now so you don't have to be on the roads when this stuff gets started. Like I mentioned before, we're not expecting any sort of advisory or anything to get extended down in Little Rock. However, travel could be a little bit hazardous, especially if we start seeing some winter weather here in the Little Rock area. But Western Arkansas, getting some amazing photos and videos coming out of Western Arkansas right now. Northern Arkansas has switched over, and this is about 9 o'clock this evening. Now, this is what round number 1. It is going to break away for just a little bit, and don't be deceived by this. And this is the biggest problem I've had with guidance all day, is that it's been trying to trend warm at night, which it does not happen. So this will likely be some light sleet or some light snow flurries by the time we get towards 10 o'clock, because there is somewhat of a dry slotting beginning to come in. Now, let's take this out just a little bit further, and you can see by 11 o'clock, it's beginning to move through the area here. So don't be deceived by it showing rain. This is likely sleet or snow, because your temperatures profiles support winter weather this late in the ballgame. But you can see on the back side of the low, your colder air is coming in, another swath of snow coming into Western Arkansas, and then by the time we get towards 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is using the HR, by the way, I'm going to show you the wrap in a second. This is going to be coming into Central Arkansas about 1 o'clock in the morning, so keep that in mind. And then you can see by 2 a.m., much of Western, Northern Arkansas, Northeastern Arkansas, I don't think that's going to be rain up there. I think that's probably going to be sleet up there as well, because your temperatures are just too cold to support it. But right now we're going to keep an eye on as we get towards Central Arkansas, and then this will begin to pivot out of the area right around our original timing at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening time frame at this point, and then it will get out of here by that time. So there's the HR moving through the area, and then you may see some snow flurries. There's some snowflakes up there and far northeastern Arkansas by the time we get towards first thing tomorrow morning, but this should quickly get out of the area by the time we get towards late tonight, first thing tomorrow morning as well. Now, I showed you the HR. Let's go ahead and talk to you guys about the wrap model here. Now, this is the wrap model at this point, and this is what it's wanting to do. So this is about 6 p.m., so it's roughly the same idea as the HR. It may be a little bit cooler than the HR is, but it's roughly the same idea. So let's take this out a little bit further, and you're going to see this is about 7 o'clock, so you can see that sleet and that rainfall mix continues for Central Arkansas. Heavy snow for our folks over there in Western and Northern Arkansas, and then in Southeastern Arkansas, you're dealing with heavy rainfall at this time. Now, for my folks in Southeastern Arkansas, unfortunately, I just don't see a lot of winter weather down there, because you do have a warm area veteran that didn't manage to come to the state, so we originally didn't have anything down there, and that's what's going to continue, unfortunately. But for Central, Western, and Northern Arkansas, this is where the winter storm is going to be at this current time. So let's take this out a little bit. This is about 8 o'clock. Like I mentioned before, both computer models are on the same table showing this around 8 o'clock. So I'd say if you're in the metro, if you're on I-30, and by the way, I'm getting a ton of accidents right now. I'm telling you guys this right now. Take it easy on the roadways. I get it. Everybody gets excited when there's winter weather, when snow starts to fall and everything like that, and you get into that panic mode. Don't do it. If you gotta travel, guys, make it an emergency. It should not be anything petty to go out and travel, especially in these type of conditions. Make it an emergency only. That should be the only thing you should be traveling for this evening, especially in Western and Northwestern Arkansas, where those winter storm warnings are at this time. We've got multiple reports of wrecks right now. Stay safe out there, folks. That's the biggest thing I'm stressing right now. But for us here in Central Arkansas, we've got a little bit of time. We've got that sleet and rain mix at this point. Road conditions aren't terrible yet. However, if we do see these computer model guidance kind of trend in this way, there could be some hazardous travel in here in Central Arkansas at this time, so we'll keep an eye on that. But you can see the transition line coming in by the time we get towards 8 o'clock this evening. Now, you can see this last is about 8, 9, 10 o'clock. About a 2-hour period of a transition over to snowfall. Then there's a dry slotting. And then what ends up happening, and this is going to come in right around midnight tonight. You can see there's your snow coming in, and then there comes into Central Arkansas by this point, and then it lifts off towards north and east here. So you're going to have a shot this evening, and then you're going to have a shot later on tonight in the first part of your Wednesday morning, especially folks in Central and Northern and Northeastern Arkansas at this current time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run for just a little bit, and I'm going to start answering questions and everything like that. So there's a lot of them, by the way. This is the biggest thing I'm going to stress right now is patience, patience, patience. That's the number one thing I'm stressing right now. is that. So with it being warm the last few days, does it mean that it won't stick as bad? For some reason, it didn't pull up. Hang on, give me just a second. For some reason, it did not pull up on our end. So give me 1 second. It should be coming up here just a little bit. Okay. Well, anyways, I'll just read your question. So would it be warm the last few days? Does it mean it won't stick as bad? And will it be on the roads by 9 o'clock? At first, the roads should be good to go, and I think that's the main reason why you do not have an advisory down here in Central Arkansas. Is just because of the overall road conditions being fine for that point. Now, if you see sleet, and this is important, if this becomes more of a sleet event, especially for a few hours, and then you get the snowfall potential, that's where things can get a little bit treacherous. So my advice, even if there's not an advisory, just stay home. Just stay home, because a lot of people are even getting wrecks with the rainfall ongoing right now. So stay home. If you don't have to get out, don't get out. Make it an emergency only. But there's been a lot of reports of wrecks, especially in western Arkansas, northern Arkansas. And if you live here in the metro, you know how it is, especially when we get rainfall. There's a lot of accidents and traffic gets backed up. So if you don't have to get out tonight, I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably going to be a really good night to kind of relax and cook from home and everything like that. Western Arkansas, Northwest, I definitely would not be getting out, because road conditions are going to become very treacherous over there to almost impossible, especially if you start seeing a lot of accumulation over there in Western Arkansas. So let me take a look at this real quickly here. So let me see here. So let me see. So let me go over questions real quick. Yeah, so Sarah, they're doing an amazing job. For some reason, this is not loading up on my end for the question. So give me 1 second. Let me see what. Oh, that's why. That would explain it, dummy. The thing was wrong. So hang on. Let me put this. There we go. So RDOT's doing an amazing job, but they cannot keep up with the snowfall. So many wrecks right now. Yeah, I agree, and that's why we tell you guys so much to stay home, because this is what happens. You get a lot of wrecks ongoing, and that's what ends up happening, especially in these winter weather events, guys. So if you don't have to get out, don't get out. It's not worth it, especially if you're in this pink zone from Polk County, POLK, Montgomery County, up into western and northern Arkansas. Even here in Central Arkansas, even if that scenario would have happened, if you want to get a dusting or something like that, then it's still going to cause road problems, because you know how everyone is trying to get to one place here in Central Arkansas. So if you don't have to get out, I wouldn't recommend it. Just stay at home. If you do have to get out, take it easy on the roadways tonight, guys. We've already got a lot of reports, and I mean, goodness gracious, this is iDrive. Remember, I was live about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I got off about 2, and then I came back at 5, and this is how much it's changed since that time frame. This is iDrive, by the way, and I'm going to show you the key over here as well. All those little diamond-shaped icons that you're seeing are all the reported wrecks right now, and the majority along I-49 over there in northwestern Arkansas. We've got some on I-40. We've got one here in the metro already. Got some down in South Arkansas, and got some in north central Arkansas at this current time. So you're easily talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 wrecks in total right now across the state. So that's why we're urging. This is the biggest reason why we're urging everybody: stay at home. Stay at home. If you don't have to get out, you don't do it. It's not worth it. This is what's going on at this time here. This is what we've got at this current time. So let me take a look at this real quickly. Dustin and Cam, make sure you're moderating the comments as well. Like I mentioned before, and I addressed this earlier as well, I'm not expecting an advisor here, because there's so much uncertainty on when do we transition over, how much do we get, is the road conditions going to be fine. Here in Central Arkansas, if you transition over, you are going to have somewhat of the warm roadways to kind of counteract the travel issue at first. We will see what happens with that, but right now, no advisory is expected here in Central Arkansas. Yes, you will transition over, but right now, we're not expecting an advisory here in Central Arkansas, but that doesn't mean squat. If you don't have to get out, folks, I wouldn't recommend it at this time. I just would not recommend it, because this is what we've got. I-40 is going to be backed up. 71 over there in western Arkansas in Polk County, POLK. That area is closed. I-49 going into Bentonville, a lot of accidents. That's going to be backed up. You've got a lot of traffic issues in north central Arkansas near the Clinton area at this time. I wouldn't recommend getting out. I would not do it. I wouldn't do it. I would stay at home, find something to cook at home and something like that. I just would not recommend getting out this evening because it's just too much going on right now. And that's the biggest thing is a lot of vehicles are in ditches right now because a lot of people try to speed during winter weather events, and it's not safe. So if you don't have to get out, folks, just don't do it. If you have to, if it's a must, you have to get out, I'm begging you, take it easy on the roadways. Slow down. Wherever you got to go, it's going to be there when you get there. Remember, it's not just you, it's the people around you's lives that are at risk whenever you try to speed. So take it easy on the roadways. I'm begging you guys. This is rather disappointing seeing this right now. 16 wrecks on the board at this point, and I'm really hoping it doesn't increase from there. So let me see here. I'm going over all that right now. So we're sending people from southern Arkansas, RDOT, up that way into central and the northern Arkansas here. But even then, like I mentioned before, and I talked about this in an earlier live stream, they can only do so much to keep up. And if snowfall rates are occurring a lot faster than expected, then it's going to lead to problems. So make sure if you don't have to get out, folks, I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. But if you have to, if it's an absolute must, you have to get out, make sure you are slowing down and taking it easy. Because like I mentioned, it's not just your life, it's everybody else's lives around you. And whenever you get in an accident, you're putting those lives at risk. So don't be that guy or girl. Just stay at home. I promise you'll be okay. Now, this is, let me take this over to the HR. And everybody's kind of asking about totals and everything like that. So if this could ever load, give me just 1 second if it can get it to load. If it can't, then it's fine. I'll just go back over to basic radar at this point. So I'm going to let this run. This is our current radar right now here. But if that can't load it up, then I'll just go from there here. But this is current radar as it stands right now across western Arkansas and northern Arkansas where your snow is ongoing. Rain for us here in central Arkansas, I do believe it is mixing with sleet at times. But we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with this. By the way, thankfully we were not on the severe side of this. You've had confirmed tornadoes, in southeastern Texas and southwestern Louisiana. So luckily we were on the winter weather side of this, but could have been a whole lot worse if we were on that severe side here. So yeah, be safe out there. I just seen where there was a 30-car pileup in Atkins. That is right near the Russellville area. Folks, come on now. It's not that serious. It is not that serious to get out and travel if you don't have to. So take it easy out there, guys. That is sad. That is sad seeing that right now. So let me see here. I'm gonna go over everything right now. So yeah, local page in Harrison. I think I know what we were talking about. Just so many wrecks in the area, guys. Just don't get out. Just don't get out if you have to. So Philip, like I mentioned before, patience. We're gonna go over all the information right now. Just be patient with me. We've got a lot of information we gotta go over. The track of the low did end up going further south, and we've talked about this all day long. It's gone further to the south. It went through southeast Texas, southwestern Louisiana. Let's take a look at that real quick. Matter of fact, let's take a look at that. So let me switch this over to this. Let me see. This is the correct one. There it is. So here's your area flow pressure right here. It's coming into central Louisiana. Is still further south than when we were originally anticipating. Remember, this low was supposed to be in southern Arkansas. So this, as of the track right now, it would take the low just like this into northeastern Louisiana and not southern Arkansas, western Mississippi and northern Mississippi. And you can see this is where you've had the severe weather throughout the day down here in Louisiana, right through here. And you also have a tornado warning down here as well. So that's something that we're going to monitor very closely at this point. With this area flow pressure being tracked that far to the south, that's why central Arkansas now has a chance of seeing winter weather, because had this been further to the north, you would have been a cold rain and you wouldn't have been seeing anything at all. But folks, like I mentioned before, take it easy on the roadways, guys. That's sad. Cal, my heart goes out to you, bud. I know you work for RDOT. When you saw that map, that was ridiculous. That's straight up ridiculous, guys. It's not that important to get out. It's not. So let me see here. So Tina, I don't know what you're missing. Let me know in the comments and whatever you're missing here, guys. And like I mentioned before, it's going to be starting around 8 o'clock this evening in central Arkansas. Remember, we cover the entire state. This is not central Arkansas or nothing. we cover the entire state of Arkansas. So keep that in mind across the board. So let me take a look at this real fast, and this is current radar. And we're going to zoom this down and show you guys what's going on here. So this is the snow ongoing over here. Western Arkansas is mixing with sleet at times as well. Heavy rainfall mixing with sleet as well over here. This is going to move into central Arkansas as we get towards later this evening and tonight. Remember, we're at 5 o'clock in the afternoon right now. We're looking at about an 8, 9 o'clock p.m. time frame for those areas here. So that's what's going on here. But, I mean, boy, right now, if you don't have to get out, folks, just don't. And I'm gonna sound like a brick wall about it, but it ain't that serious. It's not. It is not that serious at this point. So I'm gonna let radar run for just a little bit. I don't know why I pulled that up. I'm gonna let radar run for just a second, and then I'm gonna answer a few more questions here. But like I said, the timing for Central Arkansas is going to be 8 p.m. this evening, all the way until about first thing tomorrow morning. Accumulations right now. We're going with a trace to 1 inch as of right now. That's what we're going with at this point, because there's so much uncertainty with computer model data right now that you can't go any higher than 1 inch at this point. However, the chance of winter precipitation is back on the table for our area. But what we mentioned before, we don't cover just the metro. It's the entire state of Arkansas we cover. So we're going to care about western and northern Arkansas as well, especially with all those wrecks ongoing right now here, guys. It's not that serious to get out at this point. So if you can't hear me, you may want to switch this over at this point. And like I mentioned before, so I'm not speaking to everybody trying to get home. I get that. It's just you don't have to speed going home. You don't. You don't have to speed going home. I know what happens with winter weather situations like this. This is why we urge you guys, especially over there in winter storm warning and everything like that, that if you didn't have to get out, you don't have to get out. Now, I get it about the commuters and stuff like that, but don't speed. Just don't speed, because like I mentioned before, we got all of these accidents right now, guys. So take it easy on the roadways. I'm getting a lot of reports of roads being backed up as well. That's going to cause a lot of traffic delays, especially along I-40, north central Arkansas, along Interstate 49. So I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just telling you guys, you don't have to speed on the roadways. You just don't. So make sure you're careful. If you don't have to get out, just don't get out at all. But that's the situation we've got right now, and it's a very serious situation across the board. So I know everyone's trying to figure out what's going on and everything like that. Let me see here. So when the dry slot comes through and it picks back up, starting as rain. So I'm not really expecting it to be rain. That's the problem. It's going to be coming in at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. So keep that in mind. This is probably going to be sleet or snow coming in. The model guidance right now has been having a tough time trying to figure out, is this going to be a sleet event? There's going to be heavy rainfall and stuff like that. So that's something that we're going to monitor very closely here. But I want to urge something too. We've got timing on the page. We've got all the information on the page. So it's not limited just to the live streams. We got all the information on the page as well, just in case you missed it. So this is what we've got going at this point. Let me see if I can zoom this out and show you guys what's going on at this time here. So in western Arkansas over here, there's your snow ongoing right now, Fort Smith. Let's see if I can zoom this down at this point, and it's going to be, there's your snow line right up here. So you're getting heavy snow up here, central Arkansas, and especially in these bandings that I'm seeing, I wouldn't be shocked that was all sleet coming into Greenbrier and the Searcy right now. I wouldn't be shocked that was the case. Russellville, you're getting straight snow over there. So radar is being deceiving right now when it's showing sleet, but it is showing snow over there at this point. So let me see here. So southwestern Arkansas, is it still rain only? Down there in southwestern Arkansas, we can zoom this out. And I do believe you will have a shot as the upper level low continues to pivot out of the area. As a matter of fact, we're going to do this. So give me 1 second. We're going to do this real quickly here. So let me see if I can switch this over. And we're going to go over to our national radar at this time. So bear with me for just a minute. We're going to switch this over so I can kind of answer a bunch of questions right at once. So here's what we got going on at this time. This is the entire state, entire nationwide view on what's going on. If I can get my mouse to work with me, okay? This is what we've got, okay? There's your snow, there's your rain coming in, your sleet. Look at this activity still back out here towards the west. This will come through the state later on. This is associated with your upper level disturbance, and that will come through the state as we get towards later this evening and into the night. Heavy rainfall is ongoing across eastern Arkansas and southeastern Arkansas. There's your dry sliding beginning to come in as well. So You will transition over here in Central. I want to stress that a million times. You will transition over here in Central Arkansas. However, it's going to be for a brief period, and then you're going to get your back shot coming in with this low pressure, and it's going to swing through the area. Kind of similar to what we're showing you guys right now with computer model data here. We've been talking about it all day long for the last couple of days regarding timing, accumulation. So make sure you're following us on the page, guys, not just listening to just the live streams, because we've getting a lot of questions in right now. We can't get to every single one. So that's what we got going. It's Point Oklahoma over here. You're still getting the snow. Now, I'm getting concerned for our folks up there in northwestern Arkansas, because I'm starting to see dry slotting ongoing at this point. Let me see if I can go over to our not our visible satellite imagery. I'm gonna go over to our water vapor imagery real quickly here. And the thing decided to freeze on me for just a second, but there it is. So this is what we got going at this point, and I'm gonna stop the radar for just a second. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can stop this just for a little bit. So this is what we've got going. This is associated with your system. Obviously, the severe threat along the Gulf Coast, like we've been expecting, but this is what's going on. So you've got a little bit of dry air kind of cutting in up here, northeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, that may cut into your snow totals up here, but that still remains to be seen. Central and eastern Arkansas, this is where your rainfall is at this point. This will come through as we get towards tonight. So once again, what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to our computer model data here, and give me 1 second and we get this off the screen, and we're going to show you guys that real fast here. So you can see where your transition line begins to come in across the area here. So let me see if I can get this. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this going at this point. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was that one. So there you go. So there it is right there, and you can see this is with the RAP model. All right, and you can see what happens. So this is about 7 p.m. There's your sleet line coming in central Arkansas at this time. Western and northern Arkansas is all snow at this point. And then what ends up happening, it comes through central Arkansas about 8, 9, 10 o'clock this evening. There's a break in the period because of the dry slotting. And then what ends up happening is your low begins to pivot out, and you transition over back to snow by the time we get towards the overnight hours tonight. So it shouldn't be a significant event in terms of accumulations here in central Arkansas. It's just the fact that we've got winter weather back on the table, because at one point, especially earlier today, we were really worried that you guys were going to be seeing just a cold rain, and that was it across the area. So let me see here. Okay, so Mary, I meant to say Pottsville, not Atkins. So thank you for the clarification with that here. So do you think the roads will get bad in Independence County? Likely so, especially up there in northern Arkansas. So matter of fact, we can take a look at iDrive for just a bit. I'm going to let this loop, so a lot of people that are coming in asking questions and stuff like that can get their questions answered. So I'm going to let that loop through while we take a look at iDrive. But yeah, there's a lot of accidents on the board at this point here. Same thing with Searcy, same thing with central Arkansas. Yes, Amy, and that's been a problem, especially for our folks over there in western Arkansas. As a matter of fact, I can take a look at the current power outages at this point, and I do believe we are sitting at 3,383 people without power, mainly across western Arkansas here. Scott and Polk County, PLLK over there in Mena, they've been taking the lead with the power outages. So that's the biggest thing. It shouldn't be a significant power outage deal. However, what I'm worried about is you do have 15 to 25 mile per hour winds, and these areas have seen heavy wet snow. So you do have power outages ongoing right now across western Arkansas. Thank you for reminding me with your comment here. So yeah, up there in Fayetteville, it is snowing like crazy at this current time. Current temperatures at this point are actually a lot colder than what your model data is showing right now, or your weather apps are showing right now. So temperatures across the board right now, we've got 34 in Fayetteville, 32 in Fort Smith. Let's do this. I'm going to switch this over to this real quick. There it is. So this is current temperatures right now. 34 in Fayetteville, 32 in Fort Smith, 37 here in Little Rock. It's actually 36 here at the Weather Center. 35 down there in Mount Ida, 34 in Mena at this time. Also, we got 43 in El Dorado, 43 in Camden, 44 over there in Memphis, 39 up there in Jonesboro at this current time. And these temperatures are going to continue to fall as we get towards later this evening and into the nighttime hours here. So just rain as of right now in Little Rock, close to the Mayville area. but it's definitely cold and the wind is definitely picking up. Matter of fact, let's take a look at your current wind gusts right now here. This is real-time data, by the way. And there's your current not current computer model, guys. There's your current winds. Look at that, 25 to 30 miles per hour in some cases down here in southeastern Arkansas, upwards to 40 miles per hour. So definitely some heavy, some sustained winds down here in southeastern Arkansas. This is as a result of your low pressure being further to the south, and the gradient between the low pressure and the high to our south and east is causing these winds across the area here. So just keep that in mind. We will keep an eye on the situation here, but power outages are definitely a problem now, especially with wind gusts of this magnitude. So what I would do, especially in central Arkansas, if that were to be the case, if you do see heavy snowfall, especially to what Model Guys is trying to do right now, go ahead and charge your phones just to be on the safe side. It should not be a massive power outage deal here in central Arkansas, but I'm really worried about western and northern Arkansas seeing the power outages at this current time here. So let me see here. And also, yes, and I do agree, it's going to depend on your temperatures as we get towards the night here. But yes, this has shifted further to the south. Accumulations at this point is going to be determined on what your temperatures are going to look like. I cannot stress that enough. Temperatures are going to make a very big role of what ends up happening. There's going to be a lot of happy folks, and there's going to be a lot of disappointed and mad folks with this event. That's just how it's going to be, because your temperatures are dictating what happens. Throughout the day today, it has been colder than what model guidance has been showing. However, the true test is going to come as we get towards tonight and see what happens with the model data, because right now we're about 36 degrees. And we've got cloud cover and precipitation, and your dew points are only at 35. So you're only going to be able to drop so much before you start to kind of plateau out with the temperature drops. So we'll watch it closely at this point, but tonight is really going to dictate who sees what. That's why I'm not really buying, the RAP model's accumulation. At one point it showed 2-3 inches of snow here in Little Rock. You got to think realistically here. The road temperatures are warm. You got to think about the ground temperatures as well. And also how long you're going to be seeing snow, because if you only see it for 2 hours, unless your rates are super high, you're not going to see a lot of accumulation. That's why we really haven't changed our map too much. But the chance of snow, the chance of winter precipitation is on the table. And remember earlier, and I talked about this earlier too, there was some indication that this was going to be either a snow event or it was going to be a cold rain event for us here in central Arkansas. Remember, like I mentioned before, it's not just central. We're watching western and northern Arkansas at the current time here. They're getting a lot of snow over there. So we're taking care of those folks as well, we're taking care of those folks over there along with our folks here in central Arkansas. So that's the biggest thing at the current time here. So let me see here. I'm going to go over the questions right now. Cam or Dustin, if y'all can get to the that spam, thank you very much here. So let me see here. We'll go over everything right now here. So yeah, there are scattered power outages across Scott County right now, and the roads are just very hazardous at this point. So when is it supposed to happen? I've said this over and over. 8 o'clock tonight. It's going to be around an 8-9 o'clock time frame. Remember, this is our current accumulation map right now, and we can go back to it real quickly. This is what we have at this point. Trace to an inch in Little Rock, down to southwestern Arkansas, trace to an inch, and then up northeastern Arkansas. Western Arkansas, the Russellville area and the Fort Smith area, those totals are already out the window. They've already overperformed. Up there in the Ozarks, we're still getting snow. Northwestern Arkansas, we'll see if there's any kind of cutoff. But central Arkansas, and I know the majority is coming in from Little Rock, kind of asking, is it going to snow? Is it going to snow? Is it going to snow? Yes, but the accumulations are very, very, very uncertain at this current time here. Yes, there's been a shift to the south. Yes, you got your system to the south, but it just depends on how long you can transition over to snow and how long does it snow to get the accumulations here in Little Rock. And I'm going to tell you now, like I said, there's going to be a lot of happy folks with it, and there's going to be a lot of folks disappointed. It just depends on what side of the line that Little Rock ends up on. Same thing for Conway, same thing for Mayflower, same thing for anyone around the central Arkansas area. It's going to depend on where you end up in terms of the temperatures. Because temperatures right now, I'm ranging about 35, 36 degrees here. Across the area, it's about 37, 38. We're going to see if they continue to fall throughout the night, and let's see what happens. But right now, I'm not bumping up snowfall accumulations at this point until we get a better idea of what's going to happen with the temperatures over the next couple of hours here. So I-30 is slick at some spots here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go over everything at this point. I'm going to take a look at something real fast here. So, okay, so Derek is out on the roads right now here. Let me give him a phone call real fast here and see what he's got for me at this point. But so give me 1 second, guys. Let me see if I can get him on the phone here at this point. And he's on the roads right now along I-30, and he's going to give us an update on what's going on. So give me 1 second. Let me give him a phone call and see what's going on here. Okay, so I think we jinxed that. Derek, you're on live. What you got for me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, alright, so I am currently driving right now Highway 10 West.
Okay.
West of I-430. So I've driven from roughly the Cumberland area.
Yep.
We had heavy rain and sleet.
Yep.
RDOT is now treating roadways in the metro area. They are rapidly filling with sand and salt mix.
Yep.
I'm driving down Highway 10. We've gone strictly over to snow along Highway 10. I'm working my way kind of up Highway 10 a little bit towards the Bigelow area, trying to see if we can see anything else right now. But I'm getting words of accumulation down towards Ferndale now. I'm trying to start.
Okay, and there it is. I see it on radar. I see it on radar now. The radar has caught up to it. So there it is right there coming in Central Arkansas right now. And folks, if you're listening in, that's Derek on the phone. He's out traveling at this time. But you can definitely see, and I see it right there. So that's good news that RDOT is trying to treat the roads here in Little Rock. And Derek, I'm going to tell you the same thing I've been telling everybody else. Be careful in those roadways. We've got upwards to about 16 wrecks across the state right now. So make sure you're being careful out there, bud. I know you've got more experience than I do, but just be careful out there because there's been a lot of reports of wrecks across the area. But you can see this is what's going on here in Little Rock. We're starting to make that transition over to sleet and snow across the area here. So, Derek, do you have any more information you want to give us?
No, right now the biggest thing is this system is like we said over the past couple of days. The Central Arkansas area was going to be the one where it was uncertain. And as of right now, with the low tracking the way it is, I feel I'm iffy on saying we could see a little bit higher accumulations than what's currently forecast. But if you remember last time, we put out a map for 1 to 3 inches in the Central Arkansas area. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I would say this: it's going to be a situation where downtown area could see nothing, and parts of the upper terrain of the Little Rock Metro could see 1 to 3 inches of snow depending where you're at. We saw a similar event in January of last year where Chenal Mountain, Ferndale, Round Mountain, places west of I-430 saw 1 to 3 inches of snow, but by the time you got to downtown, you didn't see drops.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing right now. And I'm looking at radar at this point, and you can see that transition line. And folks that are listening in, following me along radar, and you can see the transition. So, Western Arkansas, snow, snow, snow. And then here in Central, you've been rain for the majority of the time, but you can see that orange area is starting to filter in across the area. And this is the sleet that's going to be ongoing. And what I'm really worried about there is you're going to get to a point. If your 925 temperatures are cold enough, you may completely switch over from just a cold rain to straight sleet across the area here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that over the next couple of hours. And right now, Mulligan's had it about 7, 8 o'clock this evening. We're seeing this about an hour to 2 hours earlier than expected. So if you're traveling up here in Central Arkansas right now along I-40, Western Arkansas as well, and along Highway 71 over there, and Mena and the Waldron area, they're even closed that area off because of a lot of problems here. So, and you can see, take a look at your latest radar scan as well, from Fort Smith to Waldron over to Mena. Look at your snow beginning to push off towards the east as well. So let's see what happens. This is starting to set up right here from Russellville to Plainview to Hot Springs over towards Little Rock and the Conway area. So we're going to have to watch that closely as we get over the next hour or so. And we can zoom this out even further. And up here in northern Arkansas, you see the blues and even some dark blues up here in western Arkansas is really starting to come together. And that's what's going on. Your sun is setting, your temperatures are dropping. We're now down to almost 35 degrees now here in Little Rock. Everything's starting to come together for the winter weather threat as we get towards this evening and into the night. So make sure you're taking it easy on the roadways, guys. I drive. I'm getting a lot of RDOT workers contacting us, really urging to stay off the roads, guys. And like I mentioned before, it's not a call out to anybody. Don't take it personally. We're just telling everybody right now, take it easy on the roadways. And you heard what I just told Derek. And Derek's a very experienced chaser. He's been doing this for 16, 17 years plus. And I even told him to be careful out there because of what's going on. So everybody that's getting off of work, getting off, trying to go out, get dinner ready and everything like that, take it easy. Slow down on the roadways. If you don't have to get out, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do, then make sure you're taking it easy on the roadways, especially on the interstates, because you guys know when we start getting sleet accumulates a lot quicker than snow does. So that means your road conditions will start to deteriorate rather quickly if you start seeing heavy sleet, especially over an extended time frame. So keep that in mind, especially for our folks on I-40, the I-30 area, the I-30 to 167 corridor. Keep that in mind over the next couple of hours here, especially if you start seeing sleet and snow ongoing. And then remember, we've got that round out towards west Arkansas, eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, and that's going to continue to move into our area as we get towards late tonight as well here. So let me see here, taking it out a little bit further. We're going to take a look at that real fast here. So let me see here. Yeah, I've noticed the radar showing sleet for the Garland County area, but it's just raining right now. And like I mentioned before, what's going on is the transition. You're starting to get colder and colder. You've lost the sun. That radiation is gone. So temperatures are going to start to decrease rather quickly throughout the overnight hours. And we are getting northeast winds with the system beginning to pivot out towards the area. So temperatures are going to drop really quick. And I do believe, I'd say about 7, 8 o'clock, you should be rapidly transitioning over to snow across the area at this time here. So, Derek, do you have anything else you want to show us at this point?
Yes. So
okay. What you got?
In Mena, there's been a gas station roof that has collapsed due to the weight of the heavy wet snow. Also, Little Rock schools have canceled most of their games for this evening, any sporting events, due to inclement weather potential. Also, currently right now on Highway 10, right before Lake Bowmel, current temperature is 32 degrees with sleet and snow.
Yeah. Okay. So
your freezing line is creeping into the metro a little bit faster than what even I anticipated. I know for a fact we're 37 at the airport, we're 35 at the weather center, which is switched up in the heights, and we're currently sitting at 32 right now where I'm at here on Highway 10. Roads are still wet. But again, black ice can form relatively fast if these temperatures drop much lower.
Yeah. And that would be, for those that are wondering, the Highway 10 area is going to be right through here. So basically, where you see this transition going over to sleet, there you should be seeing some heavy sleet coming down here momentarily, if it's not already occurring here in just a little bit. But right there on that Highway 10 area. So this is in western Pulaski County, by the way. And this will eventually make its way into central Arkansas as we get towards later on this evening here. And as he mentioned earlier, that 32-degree line is rapidly making its way towards the east, and that's accounting for your system being further to the south. If you've been paying attention all day long, we've been talking about the system's track, and it was going to dictate if someone was going to see cold rain or the winter event, and that's what we've got across the board. So there's your snow ongoing. As I mentioned before, not taking anything away from our folks up here in western and northwestern Arkansas, from Fayetteville to Fort Smith to Mena to Russellville. Got that report of that gas station roof collapsing because of the heavy wet snow. We should not see that kind of an issue here in central. However, we'll keep an eye on it. And then up here in northern Arkansas, you should rapidly transition. As a matter of fact, there it is. You're rapidly transitioning over to snow as your temperatures are starting to cool, as you're losing the daytime heating here. And I said before, not only central Arkansas, taking a look at southeastern Arkansas as well. Now ignoring you guys down here. Cold rain ongoing at this point. I can't rule out, especially for our folks in Ashley and Chico County, I'm going to keep an eye on this line. that may try to move through the area. You may experience some gusty winds down there, 40 to 50 miles per hour. No severe weather is expected with that line of storms here. But across the state, you can see there's your snow beginning to come in. I see your dry slotting beginning to come in as well. It's coming. It looks like it's riding along I-30 at this point, so it's going to be kind of a race against the clock on if we can get this to transition over in time, and then we'd have to wait for the second round coming in at this current time here. So your low right now is in Mississippi. It's northeastern Louisiana and going into Mississippi, so it completely missed Arkansas by a long shot. So therefore it has trended southward. That's a great help. But the problem is we've got that dry slotting coming in. So what ends up happening with that will dictate if you can get this to transition over quickly or not here. So I'm going to take a look at 850 millibar temperatures. Matter of fact, thank you, Austin, for doing that. Let me see if I can get this to move down here. So bear with me for just a moment. Let's see if I can get this over here. And we're going to take a look at that real fast here. So there's your current Doppler radar. I'm going to turn the radar off for just a moment. And we're going to take a look at your 850 millibar temperatures here. So it's going to be right here. And there it is. So it's very, 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 very borderline right here in Little Rock at this point. That's where you've got the sleet ongoing at this current time here. But I'm fully expecting these temperatures to drop even further as we get into the nighttime hours here. What you got for me, Derek? What's going on?
Alright, so I'm coming into where the curve on Highway 10 around Lake Momel is and heading up towards the Bigelow area. Roads are definitely getting a little bit more slick up here. Again, we're going up in elevation a little bit west of Black County.
Yep.
Again, still getting we're still bouncing between rain, sleet, and snow. And obviously that's to be expected as our atmosphere begins to cool down. But again, there's a lot of traffic on the roadway. Everybody heading home, even this far north of the metro.
Yeah.
And my concern is people are definitely driving a little bit above highway speeds. Again, especially out here in the mountains. As you're heading into the mountains, it gets curvy, and we're rapidly transitioning to snow. So my concern is that the visibilities are going to go down as well throughout the evening. Especially in areas away from your city lights. Travel is definitely not recommended, especially west and north of the metro throughout much of the nighttime hours. Again, no winter weather advisory. For Little Rock, Benton, Bryant, Lono, Conway yet.
Yeah.
It's kind of a wait and see right now.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing we're urging. And I mentioned before, we're not really bashing anybody trying to get home. We understand it's 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Everybody's getting off work, trying to get home. It's a rush hour. Some things can't be helped. But the biggest thing you can help is your speed. You don't have to go fast or anything like that. So make sure you're taking it easy on the roadways, guys. A lot of people are trying to get home and stuff like that. It's kind of somewhat expected on our end, somewhat not expected, and everything everywhere else. But we're going to watch it closely as we get towards the evening here. But regardless, you get west of Little Rock along I-30, not I-30, I-40. I wouldn't recommend travel at all, especially from Fort Smith to Russellville. I wouldn't recommend it. This is a very dangerous zone over here. You got 34, 35, 36 degree temperatures, but you're still having problems on the roadways. So keep that in mind across this area. I-49, that goes from Fort Smith up to Fayetteville. Heavy snow up here. I wouldn't recommend it, and temperatures are going to continue to fall throughout the evening tonight and into the first part of your overnight hours as well. And then this is your second round coming in, and your second round looks rather intense, coming in from Oklahoma, the Wichita Falls area down to Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's see what ends up happening with this. But right now, sleet, heavy rainfall across central Arkansas. Let's see what happens as we get closer within time here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this back over. As I mentioned before, there's this, and I'm also going to answer some questions as well, because I know a lot of people are kind of wondering on what's going on. My son was there for a basketball game, had to come back to Jacksonville. Yeah, they've canceled a lot of ongoing events like Derek mentioned before. As therefore, there could be, I know there could be the potential of an inch of sleet or two. Actually, that's a good point, especially our folks in Garland County. We're going to have to watch that closely as we get towards the next couple of hours. As we mentioned before, yes, you're a little bit higher elevation, but the roads are definitely becoming slicker across the area. So I'm going to go back to radar for just a bit. But right in here where you see this kind of this orange area, a little bit of pink, that's where you have the sleet ongoing right now, and it does include us here in the metro, and I'll be very curious to see what ends up happening. Can you transition over to snow before the dry slot gets here, and then you've got the background moisture coming in as well here. So like I said before, we're looking at that 8-9 o'clock time frame. It is going to stop a little bit after 10-11 o'clock tonight, and it's going to ramp right back up by the time we get towards the overnight hours as well here. And that's going to go from mainly along I-30, that's Texarkana, Arkadelphia, DeQueen, up to Little Rock, and up into northern Arkansas at this current time here. So up to 2 inches of snow already in Marion County at this current time. 30 vehicles stall out in Independence County, man. That's sad. I really hope you guys are being careful out there here. And that's the thing, Cheryl. Like I mentioned, I get it. It's rush hour. People got to go home. You can't help getting home, but you can help the speed. You don't have to go 100 miles per hour trying to get home. You can get home even if you're going reduced speeds right now, because you got to be careful at this point. Okay, don't hit the brakes fast or anything like that. Make sure your lights are on and everything like that as well. But I get going home, and I get the urgency of going home. No reason to go 100 miles per hour on this roadway, because it's not going to end well. It's going to result in more accidents. We already got more accidents across the state. Just please be careful. I'm begging you guys, be careful if you got to get out this evening and into the night here. So let me see here. We'll go over everything real quickly here. So everybody's asking about school. That'll be determined first thing in the morning. It just depends on what happens with this. This is kind of an onset road condition problem. This is not going to be a drawn-out problem like what we saw in 2021 with all that cold air coming in, or what we saw in December when we had the sleet and snow and the road conditions were bad because your temperatures fell very fast. This is going to be something that's going to occur for the first few hours, and then once the system begins to lift away, we'll have to wait and see if road conditions improve by tomorrow, but we'll have all that information on school closures and everything like that after this live stream is over with. So still a cold rain over there in eastern Arkansas, or still cold rain for eastern Arkansas with a low for the south. Can it help bring snow into eastern Arkansas? That will be a case late tonight and early of your Wednesday morning as your system begins to lift away from the area. You will transition over there. Now it'll be mainly from Brinkley to, I'd say, just north of Memphis to the Jonesboro area here, but south of I-30 at this point, not I-30, I-40 at this point down there in southeastern Arkansas, I wouldn't expect it. I think you've got too much warm air advection down here in southeastern Arkansas that's going to keep you from seeing the not heavy rainfall, the winter weather threat down here in southeastern Arkansas. But I'd say north of I-40 up here in Jonesboro, northeastern Arkansas, that's where you're going to have the potential here. And Derek, your dry slotting is very interesting here. So we're paying attention to it real quickly. What you got for me? What you got?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. I think, now, this is just an opinion, but if I remember right, because with the dry slotting coming in how it is, it's actually aiding in your cooling of the atmosphere a little bit faster.
Yep, it is, because you lost your daytime heating and you have drier air loss, so your temperatures are going to plummet on the loft and at the surface with this drier air coming in because you're not having it during the day. So that'd be very interesting to see, and that may actually, look at your second banding out here, really getting its act together out here in Texas and Oklahoma. This is what will be the cause later on tonight, and I think that's what the HR and the RAP was trying to do, is trying to have that big snow band come through during the overnight hours and provide the snowfall for much of the area. So we've got to get through this first. I think there will be sleet, especially across central Arkansas with this one. We'll have to wait and see if you can transition over. Like Darren mentioned before, you do have dry air moving in, so it's going to try to cool your temperatures off very, very quickly. And you can see here in Little Rock, 43, 42, 41, 30. Look at your temperatures. By the way, your temperatures never made it to the mid-30s unless you, not mid-30s, mid-40s, unless you were in southeastern Arkansas today. And even then, it is around 44, 45 degrees, so a complete bust with the temperatures. But let's see what happens as we get towards later this evening and into tonight here. So temperatures, like I mentioned before, don't focus on temperatures dropping below freezing. This is going to be a case, and you can ask our folks in Oklahoma and in northwestern Arkansas. They've been at 34 degrees roughly all day long, and they still had snow accumulating. The myth of snow not accumulating on 34 degrees is just that. You can get snow accumulating on the roadways at 34 degrees. So if temperatures don't drop below freezing here in central Arkansas, it doesn't mean you're not going to see accumulating snow. It can happen. Well, what it will do, it will kind of short-term it. It won't let it drag out. But you can still get snowfall, especially if your snowfall rates are very high. You can still get it over an extended time frame here. So, yeah, Ben, I agree. I fully agree. In the Euro, like I mentioned before, it's been that quiet kid in the corner holding a sign saying, hey, this is your solution, and everybody else has been ignoring it. The Euro really nailed this event so far. It's done really good with the temperatures, the placement of the low pressure, and what's going on with your precipitation at this point. All other winter guidance had it further to the north. So the Euro so far has been your champion of this event. Let's see if it continues at this current time here. So let me see here. Our son sent us a video of the snow in Valonia right now. So Valonia, Derek, is now transitioning over to snowfall at this current time here. Rachel, I love your comment. Go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
Alright, so I'm currently right now to where Highway 10 and Highway 9 meet, just west of Big Round Lime Mountain.
Yeah.
I am 100% heavy snow, and it's starting to start accumulating on the trees and stuff already. The roads are still wet right now, but the further west I go, again, I'm only about 25 miles west of Chenal Parkway right now.
Which is going to be right here. Yep. Go
In
ahead.
the time I moved north, the roadways have got, or your snow to rain transition has gotten a little bit worse and a little bit worse, a little bit worse, and it's getting more heavy the further west I go.
Yep. And that's going to be the case over the next couple of hours. As a matter of fact, we're going to pull up your city location, not your city location, your location real quick there. So you want to tell our folks where you're at right now, and then give everybody a perspective.
Alright, so if you're familiar with the Highway 10 and Highway 9 corridors, western Pulaski County, eastern Perry County, just south of Perryville.
He's way over here.
Right where it's Williams Junction to be exact.
Yeah.
Williams Junction is right now mostly heavy snow with a little bit of sleet mixed in. The roadways are definitely deteriorating the further west I go. I mean, literally in a matter of about 3 miles, the roads are getting a lot more slick.
Yeah. And that's going to be right here. So that's basically in West Pulaski County, northern Saline County at this point. So it's going to be right there. And we just got a new mesoscale discussion from I believe this is going to come from the Storm Prediction Center at this point. The greatest chance of snowfall rates accumulating 1 to 1.5 inches per hour up there in northern Arkansas here. So the current rain-snow transition line is just north of the metro at this point. So this is going to go for mainly our folks up here in northern Arkansas here. So heavy snowfall rates of 1 inch or greater per hour is possible for just northern portions of Pulaski County, all the way down into southwestern Arkansas at this current time here. And I'm going to go ahead and try to send this map over at this point. But this is what we've got. Let me see if I can get this to save, and I can get this over on our side here just shortly here. But this is going to go for our folks up here in northern Arkansas only. And as I mentioned before, we don't cover just central. It is the entire state. As like I said, a lot of people want snow here in central Arkansas. I understand, but we do cover the entire state of Arkansas. It's not limited to just central. So there's snowfall ongoing right now, and this is where your heavy snow is going to start to occur up here in northern Arkansas. But don't lose hope just yet. You have another round coming in. You can see it off to the right, your left side of your screen. There's your snow ongoing from Oklahoma down to Dallas-Fort Worth. That's going to push eastward within time here. So, Rachel, get back to your comment. Stay under the speed limit just because it says 30 miles per hour. That means you go 30 miles per hour in these conditions. I love your comment at this point. And also, we're going to get you school closures and everything like that once we get closer as well. My dad lives in Wichita, Texas. which is on your screen right there on your left side, and they've been getting a lot of snow over there. Derek, that second round is going to be the most intense per the computer model guys right now here. Remember, at one point it was just a thin line, and now it's a massive shield of precipitation with this. So it'll be very interesting to see what ends up happening here. Yeah, and Austin, that's another point. It looks like moisture is back building into the dry slot, and that's another thing we're going to have to watch closely. And I think that's what Model Guys was indicating at one point. And Derek, that is the case. You can look at radar, and it's going to be right there. It is back building back towards the south once again, and it's eroding the dry slot. If that occurs and your dry slot is eroded completely, this could get very interesting for our folks in north and central Arkansas as we get towards later tonight. So I'd be very curious to see what happens with that. But it is eroding the dry slot as it's coming into Arkansas here. So very interesting. I think it may have a part to do with the severe threat not being materialized too much down there all along the Gulf Coast here. But we're going to keep an eye on that as well. So crazy. So the radar says rain and sleet in Mount Ida, but it's been snowing super hard. And I know most of this is occurring under the radar beam at this point. So what does that mean? Radar saying one thing, your ground observations are saying another. So keep that in mind, especially central Arkansas. I can hear it. It's sleeting up here in the heights there outside of the weather center. So that's the biggest thing right now here. But you just gotta, this is like I mentioned before, it's a patience tester. And a lot of people don't have patience, but you're gonna have patience with this one because it's gonna take a while, but it's gonna happen. Think of it like you're making your favorite food. It takes a little bit to make it, but once you make it, you're gonna enjoy it, and that's what's going on at this point. But travel right now, it's a nightmare at this point. And also, Derek, we got a very concerning comment coming out of Western Arkansas. Power transformers are blowing in Waldron right now here. Heavy snow is still falling. Your power outages right now have skyrocketed from that. And let's take a look at that real quickly. So you're now up to 3,500 customers without power at this current time. Majority of them coming from Scott County, where you have over 570 people without power. Very concerning information. And like I mentioned before, it's going to depend on what happens with the dry sliding. This dry sliding decides to erode, and that's what I'm thinking it's doing right now. It looks like it's trying to erode itself. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens over the next couple of hours here. So let me see here. I live at Highway 5 and 9, nothing except for rain. We've got Derek out there. He's got sleet ongoing at this point here. So let me see. Taking a look at everything right now. Let's see. So what does the dry line eroding mean for northern Arkansas? Basically, if it starts to erode, it's going to become a lot of heavy snow for those folks over there in northern Arkansas. Matter of fact, while that's the case, give me just 1 second. I'm going to show you guys the map at this point. And also, I want to address something too. If we don't get to your question, it's not the end of the world, folks. Okay? We've got a million questions we're trying to get to. I promise you we're going to get to you as quick as we can. But if we don't get to you, we've got information on the page. This is why we have all the information on the page here. So I'm begging you guys, have some patience with this, guys. I know everybody's trying to get their questions answered right now, but you've got to have patience with us, especially with this type of event, because it's impacting such a large area. What you seeing out there? What you got? Is the road starting to?
All right.
Okay.
All right. So I am 9 miles south of Perryville.
Yeah.
On Highway 10. Roads are trashed. Very slushy. Very snowy.
Okay. And you're saying you're where? Once again, I didn't hear you.
I am 9 miles south of Perryville on Highway 10.
9 miles south of Perryville on Highway 10. So you're going to be right here. So this is why. So radar is deceiving the mess out of you right now because it has sleet. Are you seeing? It's all sleet accumulations, or it all snow over there?
I'm getting 100% snow.
100% snow over here. So radar is being deceived right now. So basically, what's going on is radar is saying sleet, but like I said, ground reports are going to matter so much because you've got snow ongoing as well here. And this is the map, by the way, of what I was talking about before. So heavy snowfall rates across the area. That goes from much of Arkansas at this point. That rain and snow transition line, I mean, it's basically right there on top of you, Derek. And it's going to continue to try to move south over the next couple of hours as your system begins to lift to the north and east here. So for our folks in northern Arkansas, and even includes northeastern Arkansas as well, includes the Jonesboro area, make sure, like I said before, if you got to travel, take it easy on the roadways at this point. And like I mentioned before, I'm not bashing anybody. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings about this. But if you have to get out, take it slow, okay? Don't go 30, don't go 100 miles per hour on the roadways. It ain't worth it. No matter how urgent you may think it is, it ain't worth it. So take it easy on the roadways, guys. You're doing us a favor, yourself a favor, and everybody else around you a favor by taking it slow on the roadways. I promise, wherever you gotta go, it's gonna be there by the time you get there, okay? So let me see here, going over everything. Go ahead, Derek.
Alright, so I'm currently about 7-ish miles south of Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
We've got a good dusting, half an inch already up here.
Okay. So you're over there in western Pulaski County at this point. And I'm gonna keep an eye on radar because what is your by any chance? Matter of fact, I can answer that. I'm in the weather center. Your temperatures right now are about 36 to 37 degrees over there, and you've got accumulation already in this area. So this is right over here. This is in western. What's up? What you got?
My current temperature is about 34, 33. I'm bouncing between 32 to 34 degrees right now.
Okay. All right. So.
Snow on trees, snow on power lines. Your pine trees are weighing down already.
Okay. And now we're getting reports of of snow ongoing here in Little Rock now. A full snow transitioning is ongoing now here in Little Rock. So I'm getting reports of that as well at this point. So let me see here, going over everything right now here. So in terms of accumulation or anything like that, our accumulation map is going to remain as it is at this point. Like I mentioned before, like this isn't an event right here, and I stress this a lot. It's going to make a lot of people happy, and it's going to make a lot of people upset. That's just how it's going to be, because even with the system going south, you're still having somewhat of a warm air advection problem coming into Arkansas. So central, southwest, northern, western Arkansas, you're good. Eastern and southeastern Arkansas, you're going to be dealing with a cold rain for much of this event here. But like I mentioned before, we're going to have to keep an eye on that here. Now, the dry slotting at this point, basically what we mean about that is when the dry slotting is coming in, it's basically eroding the precipitation. I can show you on radar to give you a better layman term. And I saw that comment as well. As annoying as it is to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it because we got a ton of wrecks out there right now here, so keep that in mind across the board. But anyways, there's your dry slotting right here, and I can show you that real fast. So basically what this is, Annie, it basically erodes all your precipitation. Now the problem is, remember, this was coming up I-30 at one point. Now it's building back down towards northeastern Texas. Your second wave is beginning to come in as well. Now I do think this will eventually make it into Arkansas. But Derek, I do believe we're seeing our system beginning to slow down too, and that was another concern of ours as well, was the system slowing down and us seeing the potential of accumulating snowfall as far south as central Arkansas. So I think that may be the case as well. What you got?
You've got cars and ditches on Highway 10 by now.
Oh goodness.
State police are working on at least 3 accidents in this 8-mile stretch.
Oh man, that is news I was not wanting to hear. That's the biggest thing, guys. And like I mentioned before, I'm not coming at anybody about this, but you gotta be careful out there on the roadways, guys. I cannot stress that enough. And that's what I'm saying is having trouble up there in Fulton County, multiple wrecks up there on Highway 9. Ryan Vaughn's having to deal with it too. So guys, you gotta be careful out there, folks. That's the biggest thing. This is not a laughing matter or anything like that. If you think it's a laughing matter, you might want to check your priorities, but you got to be careful out there. You have to be careful if you're traveling at this point, guys. I get it. Like I said before, it's 6 o'clock, and I was really concerned about this too because this was coming in around rush hour, and with no advisory or anything like that, there was kind of no reason to go home early, especially here in central Arkansas, so I can't really blame anybody for trying to get home or anything like that, which is perfectly understandable. But you got to take it easy, guys, because you're hearing him. Cars are in ditches at this point. We've got multiple wrecks, not only here in central Arkansas, but in northeastern Arkansas already, western and northwestern Arkansas. 71 over there is closed. 49 is dealing with issues. take it easy out there, guys. And like I said before, I'm not coming at anybody about this. I'm trying to protect lives at this point. So you got to be careful across the state if you're planning on traveling. Southern and southeast, you're going to be okay down there because it's just heavy rainfall. Make sure you're safe as well. You guys know the deal when it's raining. But central Arkansas and in the northern and northwestern Arkansas, you definitely got to be careful out there tonight. If you don't have to get out, I wouldn't do it at this point. Okay, so let me see here. We'll go over everything at this point. Thank you for answering my question. I said, Katie, I'm not specifically going over questions. I'm just trying to get to you as quickly as possible. Trey, great question. I do believe your winds are going to be about 20 to 25 miles per hour throughout the night. And I think that's what's going on, too. You've got a combination of heavy, wet snow and the wind gusts causing power outage issues across the state. So mainly over there in western Arkansas at this current time with power outages at this point are going to be ahead at 3,500. We have now broken the 4,000 threshold. So we now have 4,082 customers without power. Majority is going to be in Polk County, POLK, Pope County, POPE, and also Scott County over there in western Arkansas. We're getting some mixed reports down there as well in southern Arkansas as well. And I think it's because of the wind. The wind is about 25 to 30 miles per hour down there. So it's just, you're going to have to keep an eye on that. I would recommend go ahead and charge your phones just to be on the safe side. Even if you already didn't see any power outages, it's always good to be, a step ahead at this point here. So Matt, once we get past today, there is another event that we are going to talk about, but we're going to get through this one first before that's the biggest case there. And Pam, I try not to, like I said before, I'm trying not to offend anybody, but I'm just putting it straight forward. If you don't have to travel, folks, don't do it. If you're in western Arkansas, I'll show you real quickly here. If you're in this winter storm warning right now, and I can go over this real fast. If you're in this winter storm warning right now, I wouldn't even travel at this point. This is becoming a problem for not only us, but for law enforcement. This is for them. This is for folks, for our dock workers and emergency management, law enforcement. You heard the state police out there. Guys, like I mentioned before, if you don't have to get out, don't do it. And I'm gonna make it a broken record as much as possible because I'm trying to drive the point home of what's going on here. Now, fortunately, like I mentioned before, by the way, I can hear the sleet. There's a lot of sleet going on out there outside of the weather center here. Now, the wrecks have came down, which is good news, which means, law enforcement and everyone else is starting to make some headway with this. But the majority right now is in the Clinton area, near the Heber Springs area. We've got a couple outside of Fort Russellville, and we've got one just north of Bentonville at this time here. But the reassuring thing is people are getting off the roads. People are getting home. They're slow traveling. So that's the biggest thing right now here. That's some good news across the area here. But for the rest of the night, I wouldn't do it. It ain't worth it at this point. But I can definitely, Derek, I can hear that sleet out there. We've got sleet outside in the weather center, and we're rapidly dropping in our temperatures as well here. So what you got for me right now?
Alright, so I'm coming into Perryville.
Yeah.
Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm currently making the circle, Little Rock, Perryville, Conway area, and back down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making that circle, just trying to get an update on road conditions as we go here along. So basically, it's elevation. When I was up on the mountaintop a little bit,
Yeah.
Highway 10 was really, really bad. I got down in the valley, not so much. But now I'm coming in.
I think that's what Amy's talking about too. Yeah, Highway 10 is an elevation thing. So you go down in the valley, mainly rain. But if you go up in the elevations, that's where you start having some problems here. So I think that's what you were talking about.
No.
What's up?
I've got at least a half an inch to an inch of snow.
Okay.
On this entire stretch.
Okay.
It's just the roadways are being affected right now.
Okay. All right. So, like I said before, you're saying, I know you're on Highway 10 and stuff like that, but she's on Highway 10 as well, and she's saying it was still rain over there. So it just depends on where you're at. But if you're saying that if you're saying you've got it for the entire stretch, I'm gonna believe you. So let me see. Even if Central doesn't get a weather advisory, could the road conditions still deteriorate? Yes. That's the biggest thing. And me and him both have seen situations even outside of the winter weather advisory, even if you don't even get an advisory, you can still see roadway conditions become bad. So that's the thing that we're trying to drive home. Even if you're not even if you're not in an advisory or in the warning, if you're seeing winter precipitation, you need to take it easy on the roadways, guys. And we've seen this a lot in central and north central Arkansas right now, western Arkansas, and down in the southern Arkansas as well. And that dry sliding right now is having a very, very hard time coming up north Arkansas, not coming up into Arkansas at this point. It's kind of like it's borderline trying to stall itself out. And to go back to your question that we were looking at here, let me see. I had one earlier. It's a system below us still stalled out, and we can take a look at that real quick. And so I'm going to turn off temperatures for just a bit, and we're going to take a look at that. So a lot of people are kind of asking, can we go over Futurecast and stuff like that? At this given moment, as much as I like using data, I think right now real-time data will give you a better idea on what's going on. So, boy, your low is way to the south with this one. Derek, I'm gonna give you a little insight on how far south this low is, and it's gonna sarcastically shock you because me and you both were counting on this to go south. It is in Alexandria, and it's going right just south of Vicksburg, and it's going right just south of Jackson at this point. Remember, Guidance had this in southeastern Arkansas at one point. And we looked at this thing and we were like, there's no way that's going to happen. There's absolutely no way this is going to shift north. And that's what's going on. It is way to the south at this time here across the area here. So this is going right through central Louisiana. It's like a classic track. I mean, an absolutely classic track at this point. But the biggest thing is, can we get the temperatures to match it? Can we get the temperatures to match it? That's been the biggest concern of us over the last couple of days is, can we get the temperatures to match? And I will say this as well. This is your upper level system back out here, and it has opened up big time. We no longer have a closed area of low pressure. This is an open system. So let's see what happens. I think the second round back out here and along the Red River in Oklahoma is going to surprise a lot of folks, especially overnight tonight, the first part of your Wednesday morning here. So let me see here. You guys are doing great. Thank you very much. I thank y'all so much for being here. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. That's the thing I want to stress. I'm closing in to 5 inches of snow. Cars are stalled out at the top of the mountain. At least 4 now have flashing lights on the road. Cannot go up the mountain. I wouldn't even attempt to try to go up the mountain with this one. I wouldn't do it. Like I mentioned before, and I said before, I'm going to keep mentioning this point. Don't do it. Just don't do it. If you have even the slightest idea of traveling, especially from Little Rock now to western Arkansas to northern Arkansas, I wouldn't do it. I would not travel at this current time here. So let me go over everything right now. Okay, Greene County now included in the winter weather advisory at this point. So I'll be real curious to see if Little Rock's going to pull the trigger or not. But if they don't, then it is what it is. But Greene County up there in northern Arkansas is now under a winter weather advisory. They now have us seeing a winter mix here in Little Rock, by the way, Derek. I'm trying to see if what they're doing with the accumulation. So they're saying no accumulation. That's why you don't have a winter weather advisory. Is because they're saying no accumulations at this time. But we shall see what ends up happening with that. I think you will see some accumulation with this, especially if your dry sliding continues to erode over here in southwestern Arkansas, northeastern Texas, and southeastern Oklahoma. So we'll monitor it closely here. But right now, I'd say don't travel right now. I wouldn't do it across the area. So let me see here. Go ahead.
So you're coming back to rain.
Okay.
Right now here in Perryville.
Okay. All right. So you're
So
you're
actually.
yeah.
I'm gonna actually kind of head towards Conway, So I'm gonna head towards Conway and see what we're seeing as we go east.
Okay.
Moulton is also an idea. I don't know what we're seeing up there in Moulton right now.
Okay. Right now, I've Moulton at this point. We could take a look at that too. Moulton at this time here is per radar, and I'm using it lightly here. It's showing sleet, but most of this is probably accumulating snowfall or a sleet snow mix, because right now radar is having a difficult time here. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this over, and I'm going to go over to our level 3, and we're going to use this, okay? And level 3 really doesn't help out much either in terms of this overall setup, guys, because it's still showing the precipitation ongoing across the area here. So let me see here. Let me go over to this. I want to see if I can tilt this up a little bit and kind of give a little bit of a visual of what's going on. And I'm going to go to this one. This one's going to be your best friend with this one. So there's sleet ongoing all the way down here in Arkadelphia now. There's your snow beginning to come in. And this is going to rapidly make its way into the area. And then you can see right here near the Russellville area, that's where your snow is ongoing at this current time here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. This is going to continue throughout the evening. Also, I'm going to throw a little caveat at you guys over here in eastern Arkansas. But this heavy banding, yes, it looks like rain on radar, but this is probably a rain sleet mix over here from Brinkley to Searcy to Augusta over towards just southwestern wind at this current time here. But for us here in the Little Rock area, I think you're fixing to get ready to transition over to all sleet here in a short while at this point here. And I'm going to take a look at a couple of things at this time here as well. So when the HR initialized what it was doing with the aloft temperatures, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that real quick while you guys are looking at radar. What it did with the surface, not the surface temperatures, your aloft temperatures, right now your aloft temperatures as it stands as of 5 p.m., we're about 32, 33 degrees. Now, as of the initialization, which is hour number 1 at 6 p.m., they are now down to 0 with temperatures at 36 degrees and your 850 below freezing. So this is representative of sleet across the area. Now, what ends up happening during the overnight hours is you kind of flip-flop with this. You kind of go from 0 to 1, -1, 0 to 1, really favoring the northern and western part of the county, western Arkansas and northern Arkansas as well. And by the way, I'm going to show you guys this here in just a little bit. I'm still getting it loaded up on our end, but it's really intense with that heavy banding coming in at this point. So it's got a cold rain. There's your sleet. It's been kind of sitting at sleet at this time. And then what ends up happening is your main system begins to come in and you rapidly transition over to snow. Accumulations right now per the HR in central Arkansas will stand about I'd say near an inch. The Ozarks are really going to take off late tonight, and the Ouachita's as well. But in eastern and southern Arkansas, I'm going to say no at this point. But we're also going to take a look at the RAP model, and I'm getting everything loaded up right now. But right now, we're just kind of getting the guidance at this point, kind of setting up, and you guys are staying a look at radar at this current time here. Derek, do you have any of the reports you need to share along?
No, right now I'm currently making my way up towards the Bolton area, nice and slow.
Okay.
So literally in the drive between Perryville and Perry, we're switching back again.
So you're going right back to snow or sleet?
Yeah.
Okay. And like so forth. Basically what's going on is you're seeing that transition from rain to snow, and then basically you're going back and forth because your 925 millibar temperatures, which is just above your head, is very, very marginal. I mean, it is very, very low at this point. It's about right at 32, 33 degrees. So you're supportive of both. You're supportive of both winter weather and in a cold rain at this current time here. So give me just a second. I'm gonna take a look at the RAP model here in just a little bit, and I'm gonna let radar kind of go for a little bit, like everybody that's coming in, taking a look at radar. But this is what we got going at this point: snow across western Arkansas, northern Arkansas, and then we're also watching central Arkansas as well as this is coming in at this current time here. So could the low take a sharp turn to the north? That is going to be a no with this one. This system is way to the south at this time, and if it was going to take a turn to the north, it would have done it earlier on, like Goddess was suggesting. So at this given moment, I'm going to say no. I think it's going to continue to go towards the northeast, and your system, when it being opened up, is going to keep it from including back in Arkansas. So that's what's really going to help your winter weather chances as we get towards this evening here. So even if we're getting a dry shot, does that mean the second round is still going to come? That's what I'm saying. You're going to have that brief moment where things dry out, and then your second round is going to come in because you have moisture on the backside of this system. So that's what's going on here. So you're still going to get the second round as we get towards late tonight and into tomorrow here. Okay, so let me see here. Let me go over everything at this point. Has the accumulation changed at all? Not much. I'm not really looking at accumulation changing at this time. If accumulations are over in some places than when they were earlier, then that's fine. I don't think anybody's really going to complain if winter weather overperforms. But the biggest thing is we'll keep an eye on the accumulations. But right now, I'd say a trace to an inch from Texarkana to Little Rock, Jonesboro. Let's go back to that real quick and show you the accumulation map here. So this is going to be your accumulation map right here. And this is it right here. So Ozarks, near a foot of snow. It's going to be a historic snow event for you folks up there. But from Jonesboro to Little Rock down to DeQueen, trace to an inch. And then the Ouachitas near 4 to 8. You guys have already seen probably higher than that. Russellville definitely has seen higher than that. So some of these totals have been underdone at this point. And we're going to continue to monitor it very closely. But right now, I don't think there's enough confidence to increase these snowfall totals here. I think it's going to be just fine as it is here. But if it does overperform, then we'll address that once we get closer here. But right now, it just depends on what happens with your temperatures here. We're holding strong at about 36 degrees right now at this time here. So when we update the map, we're not going to update the map. I'm not going to do it. We're too late in the event. This is what we've got, and this is what we're going to stick with this event. I think we're good to go. This is a perfect cut through. Like I mentioned before, some areas have overperformed already. And we're going to see what happens from DeQueen to Daisy up towards the Hot Springs area to Little Rock to Jonesboro as we get towards the night here. So we'll keep an eye on that at this point here. So the power just went out in Bergman. So thankful for my generator. If you got a generator, by the way, especially here in Central Arkansas or anything like that, just test it. Just be on the safe side. I'm not expecting widespread outages, but it will be, you'd rather be safe than sorry at this point. So we're on the mountain, have close to 5 inches in southern Stone County right now. That is insane. Could the low go further south to bring the winter weather into Grant County? Like I mentioned before, right now I'm going to say no, because you've got too much warm air advection down there in Grant County in southeastern Arkansas from seeing winter weather. And I know as many people want the winter weather to go down in southern Arkansas, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with this one because you have too much warm air advection trying to come in southeastern Arkansas, even with the storms on the Gulf Coast, which explains how warm the Gulf of Mexico is. The Gulf of Mexico is easily in the upper 70s and low 80s right now. Had it been cooler, we'd have probably been dealing with a widespread winter weather event, even in some particular cases, a widespread snowstorm across the area outside of the Ozarks. But unfortunately, Gulf of Mexico is just too warm right now, and even with the severe storms along the Gulf Coast, and even with the storm system going to the south, and everything coming together, you still have that warmer advection that just you cannot get rid of down there in southeastern Arkansas, and that includes Grant County and further down from there. So I'm not really expecting it at this period of time here. So let me see here. We'll take a look at everything here. Yeah, your preset data for Sharp County has been wrong. It's been snowing for 2 hours. And that's what I keep saying, Seth, and I keep repeating myself about it. Radar is going to deceive you. It's going to deceive you with this event. Yes, the radar is going to show rain. It's going to show rain. What's going on is everything's occurring under the radar beam. So it's been snowing for your area, and I'm glad you're seeing the snow, but radar is showing rain for a reason. That's why we're not taking radar with 100% guarantee, and that's why we've been urging so much about ground reports. That's why we have Derek out here as well. Ground reports, because radar is not telling the 100% truth right now. We've been urging that all day long at this point as well. And I know the Weather Channel has 3 to 5 inches of snow in some places. Folks, we're going off of what we're seeing with trends right now. If that second round overperforms, that's awesome. But we are not changing our snowfall totals at this time here. It's not going to happen. Because what's going to happen is if you change it now and it doesn't happen, then it's going to underperform. I think it's perfect as it is. If it overperforms, like I mentioned before, I don't think a lot of people are going to be complaining about it. So that's the biggest thing. From DeQueen to Little Rock, Jonesboro, you're good. Ozarks, foot of snow over there. And then in the Ouachitas, we're talking 48 inches of snow as well here. So let me take a look at everything at this time here. Let me see here. So yeah, and Austin, I agree. And that's the uncertainty right now. The backside of that low is stronger than expected. And I'm going to throw a little caveat at you too. This low is expected to bottom out late tonight into the first part of tomorrow morning. What we mean by that is it's going to strengthen during the overnight hours. And if that occurs, it's going to throw more moisture on the backside of this low. And I'm really worried Baldwin guys may not be doing too good of a job with the backside of the low. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I do agree, Austin, if that backside of the low is much stronger than anticipated, it could throw a lot of wrenches in the forecast. That's why we're not changing it, because there's just so much uncertainty right now what this backside of the low is going to do. If it overperforms, like I mentioned before, a lot of people won't complain about it. Some will, but it is what it is. But a lot of people won't complain if it overperforms. But I'm going to leave it as it is right now, just to be on the safe side, especially in the Ozarks and over there in the Ouachitas at this current time here. Independence is now up to 2 inches. Chackasaw is up to 4. It's leading now in Newport, which is in northeastern Arkansas. Searcy on the map. There's your map. All your information is going to be on there as well. Let me see here. Everybody's asking, Derek, are you still with me on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Everybody's asking. I'm going to answer that question. He's on the west side of town because everybody on the east side of town is seeing rain while you are seeing the winter weather over there at this point. And we said this, that there was going to be some sort of a cutoff right there at the metro.
Yep.
That's what's going on. The west side is seeing it, while the downtown side on the eastern side of Little Rock is getting purely rain at this current time here. So,
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm currently on Highway 9 right now.
Okay.
About 5-ish miles south of Morrilton.
Yeah.
Currently I am. We've been transitioning back and forth. Rain, sleet, snow. Headed through Perry, Apello, it was mostly snow. Now that we're coming a little bit further north, I'm seeing more sleet. So what you're seeing on the radar in terms of around the Morrilton area,
Yeah.
and I'm probably 6-ish miles from Morrilton, about to hit down I-40 just a bit. It's really accurate. There's definitely less snow accumulation and more sleet as you head toward Morrilton. Again, there's the river valley part of this now. So now you're in the river valley. So now things are going to be a little bit different.
Yep.
So when you get in the river valley, you're coming down out of the elevations.
Yep.
I've been driving the snow-covered ground for probably good, 20 miles or so. Now I'm in the river valley. There's not a single snow cover to be found.
Yep. And that's what's going on. You're trying, because what's going on right now is that 925 millibar low, 925 millibar temperatures are just so marginal right now. And granted, we're about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. It's early evening. A lot of people are expecting it, they're wanting it, and it's making time go by so slow. You got to remember, the sun just went down about maybe an hour or so ago. Give it time, folks. Stay patient. It's going to happen. But right now, I'm not changing these snowfall totals. They're going to be good. Like I mentioned before, if it overperforms, that's going to be awesome. But right now, I say we're good to go with this event in terms of central and southwestern Arkansas, the Ouachitas, and up towards the area. But I'm going to leave this up because a lot of people are kind of tuning in, trying to find out the exact amount. And we don't have the exact amount. We just have the broad brush, because when you're looking at this special winter weather forecast here in Arkansas, you never get the exact number. It never happens. I can't tell you how many times we've had the model showed 10 inches of snow. We end up with 7.5 or something like that. So you never get the exact number. That's why we have the broad brush, because you can have either 1 inch of snow or as high as 3 inches of snow. And I do realize some of these totals in here, especially from Fort Smith to Russellville, blown out of the water at this point here. And I mentioned before, we're going to have to watch Central Arkansas, but right now we've got sleet ongoing. Once this live stream is over, I am going to take a step outside of the area and kind of see what's going on out there. It's kind of a mix between the two in terms of rainfall and snow at this current time here. So let me see what's going on here at this time here. So are we back to no snow here in Little Rock? Let me answer that, folks. Like I mentioned before, I'm not saying it's not going to snow in Little Rock. You can still get snow without the accumulations. Let me make that perfectly clear. You can get snow without the accumulations. That's the biggest thing I'm stressing right now. I get it. Everybody's so excited about the winter weather threat in here in Central Arkansas. What I'm saying is you're going to still see snow, and you can see with our accumulations right now, a trace, as low as a trace to as high as 1 inch of snowfall across the area. I'm not expecting this thing to be a significant event here in Central Arkansas. You just don't have everything in place, especially the cold air, to get a significant snowfall event here in Central. Could that change? Obviously, I want to see what happens with the backside of this low. But this system is way to the south. That is helping our chances, but it doesn't 100% guarantee it's going to see snowfall here as we get towards this evening and into tonight here. So I'm curious to see what the wrap is wanting to do. And Derek, I was going to say before, if you have anything you need to throw out there, let me know. Where's your current location? Where are you tracking at this point?
Currently crossing the Arkansas River on Highway 9, coming into Morrilton now.
Okay.
So I can officially say the River Valley is transitioning to snow and sleet.
Okay.
So literally it was a little bit of snow with the rain. Now we're basically strictly now snow and sleet. Bridges are still wet over here right now. Roads are still wet in Morrilton. I do see a little bit of slush on the sidewalk. I will say this: RDOT, along with the county trucks, are doing a dang good job in keeping these roads clear right now.
Yeah.
They don't get enough credit
I know.
in these type of events.
Yep.
But
I agree.
RDOT, our local road crews, they're working 12-hour shifts throughout the night to make sure these roads are going to be somewhat passable when you wake up in the morning. So if you get a chance, go out and thank the driver, because they are sitting here working overtime to make sure you have a way to get to and from work or wherever you have to go.
Yep. And I do agree with you, Derek. That's the biggest thing. And I know Cal and the rest of our RDOT workers, they don't get enough credit. We're working in these types of events. You got to realize, too, they're working away from home, working away from their families, making sure that you can get home safely. So biggest thing is stay out of their way. They're trying to make it easier on you while you're out traveling. Now, I do have some new developments, and Derek, you might want to listen in to this one. First and foremost, the RAP is doing a real good job right now with this event here. And I want to stress something, too. First off, Little Rock has completely transitioned over. And let's take a look at radar for just a bit. Little Rock has completely transitioned over to all sleet per radar. The entire city is now transitioned over all sleet. And what's going to happen is over the next couple of hours, and I've noticed something too, your dry line, your clearing line has stalled out just south of Arkadelphia right now. I think you're fixing to get ready to go over to all snow here in Central Arkansas, and it could be accumulating snow as well. I think the RAP model is doing an excellent job with this at this time here. You saying we're transitioning over here in the River Valley, you're about 30 minutes away here. So remember the time I said before, 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock for the transition. And that's what we've got at this time here. So the RAP model is doing a real good job with this sleet all throughout this area. And you have completely transitioned over to sleet across the area. Temperatures are now falling down at the Weather Center down to 35 degrees here, which is located up here in the Heights. So just keep that in mind. But there's your snow line right here, and it's making its way towards Little Rock, and I think it will make it. I have faith that it's going to make it here into Central Arkansas at this time here. But much of the area has transitioned over to sleet here. So I'd say this forecast, so far as it stands, has overperformed from what Model Guidance has thrown out, except for the Euro. The Euro, the quiet kid in the corner with the sign up, is doing a good job right now with this event here, and it's going to continue to do that. And I've mentioned before, you can see your dry line beginning to come up into southern Arkansas, but it's stalled out. It's stalling itself out. You've got precipitation continuing to build across the area here, and now Cam, you sent an interesting photo. At this point, let me see if I can get this up. There's now being some indications up here in northeastern Arkansas, and if you guys can give me some reports too of any thunder sleet or thunder snow ongoing up there right now. Let me know what you guys are seeing up there. Your ground reports are going to be really helpful. But at this point, we've transitioned over all sleet here in the metro, and let's see what ends up happening at the end of the day here. And there's a zoomed out radar. Go ahead, Derek. Go ahead. What you got?
So, Morrilton is transitioning to heavy snow now.
Okay. All right. So
and another thing I've learned with this event that is concerning me, we have fall. Some of it is very dense. If you get heavy
Yeah.
It's going to make traffic conditions really, really bad.
Yep. That's the thing. That was the thing with this. And Michael, I see your comment as well. I know I got to give GFS credit, but GFS has been flopping back and forth between north and south. The Euro's just been kind of like flatlined with this entire thing. But GFS has been, especially Western Arkansas, did great in Western Northwest, but Central has just been the battle zone between going north and northwest or going south. Euro's been kind of right at that line with Central Arkansas. So there's just been a lot of uncertainty over the last couple of days. But your system going way to the south has really helped your chances across the area. And that dry line, you can see where it's coming up at. If you can zoom out on radar, you can see that dry slotting beginning to make its way upwards. But you see the back building of it too, trying to come in as well. So let's see what ends up happening. Can you transition over before it gets here? And then you're going to have that back shot back here as well. And then the wrap model is wanting to do that at this point. It's wanting to transition everybody over from sleet to all snow for just that little bit of time. And then it transitions over to snow at the back end, and then that is it. But your system becomes a 999 millibar low just to the east of Memphis at this current time. So I'll be watching that close as we get towards tonight during the overnight hours. So make sure you stay with us during the overnight hours as well. But we'll keep an eye on that. But for much of the area, you have completely transitioned over to all sleet here. And Derek mentioned before, we do have fog out there as well. That's going to provide much worse travel issues, especially for our folks along I-40, the I-30 area, across the area. That's where you're going to have those issues at this current time. And also, I saw your comment as well, 6 inches of snow over there at this time here. Derek, if you can tell our good folks where you're located at this point.
Hey, Cameron. So I'm currently sitting in Royalton.
Okay.
Right now, right here, everybody knows where all the truck stops are, whatnot, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Where Highway 9 of Royalton is.
Okay.
So currently seeing a decent amount of snowfall here in the town of Royalton, and I'm about to check it out really fast. So we have transitioned to all snow here now.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of sleet mixed in. But good.
Okay.
Adjusting to maybe about a half an inch of wet foot snow.
Okay.
Right now. I'm seeing a pretty good amount of like your back road, parking lot, starting to come slush.
Okay.
And a little bit of ice covered as well.
Okay.
Current temperature. So your current temperature is about right now 33 to 34 degrees.
Gotcha. 33, 34 degrees in that area here. So this is, like I said before, radar is just, it's being, it's deceiving a lot of people right now here, because I'm seeing a lot of reports of, it's still raining in Mayflower. We just have to wait and see what happens with this. But let's see, answer your question, Tyler. Do you think you could see temperatures drop with accumulation around Jonesboro? It is questionable right now. The upper level low, Kevin made a great point. The upper level low is producing heavy, very, very heavy wet snow across the area here, back out in Texas and Oklahoma. So let's see what happens. Let's once we get towards tonight here. That's a pretty good sign here. By the way, per radar, and I need some folks in Hot Springs to confirm with me with this. Hot Springs has transitioned over to snow per the radar. I need you guys to do me a favor and go confirm if you're outside at this point in those areas, especially for my folks south and west of Hot Springs at this point. The radar is quickly becoming blue, Derek, as this dry slide is making its way so ever close to the Little Rock area here. But let's see if we can transition this over. We've gotten a sleet across the area. Let's see what ends up happening with this. But there's been a lot of people saying there's rain, there's sleet, there's other things going on at this time here. So we've gotten enough sleet to make the porch slick in South Jackson County. So I'm not going to work. Well, I hear you on that one. I love that comment. That was great. Let me see here. So for the Springdale area up there, northwestern Arkansas, you will have another shot during the overnight hours, and then that will be it throughout this event. I think you may see a couple more inches up there if you're lucky. But that's if, given the storm system itself, that's if it tracks north. If it tracks to the south, we'll have to keep an eye on it across the area here. So let me see here. We'll go over everything right now. Is that dry spot almost to Garland County? Yes, it's making its way towards Garland County right now, but it's transitioning the snow, the sleet and rain over to snow. So let me see what happens with that. If you guys can see it, let me know at this current time here. And then Sevier County down there in southwestern Arkansas, it's all rain at this time here. So let me see here. Mount Home has 2 inches of snow so far. I think you'll get more as time progresses here. The Euro, like I said, it's been a combination of both with the Euro and the GFS here. But the Euro's been kind of more central favored versus the GFS. But the GFS finally did eventually cave over to those areas here. So with sleeting and snowing in the Clarksville and Lamar area, that's along I-40 at this current time here. Conway at this time here, you should be seeing sleet per radar, but if you're not, let me know. Like I said before, this is where ground truth is going to come to in effect. It's really going to be if you see snow or rain or anything like that, let us know, because Doppler radar is only doing a certain job right now. As a matter of fact, what we're going to do is we're going to stop this. We're going to go over to our level 2 real quick, and I'm going to see what your level 2 is trying to do right now. So that's going to be popping up here just shortly. But there's the sleet ongoing right now. I'm going to zoom down, take a look at the Mayflower area, and I can see it being some rainfall over here, but boy, is radar struggling right now with this. And I can do this real fast and see what it's wanting to do with this here. So there's the radar loop right now, and you can see the back building of the snow and everything like that here. So we'll keep an eye on it at this current time here. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of school closures. We're working on that as quickly as we can, guys. We're gonna get that information on the page. Snow and sleet at Austin's house. He's in Central Arkansas, so that's great news. Let me know if that continues. I believe he's down there. You're down there in Hot Springs, I believe. So that would confirm this. That would confirm this transitioning over to snow over here in this area here. So I'll be very curious to see what ends up happening with that here. So barely coming down. I know apps are showing, an inch of snow here and all the other stuff. You got to go with radar. You got to go with what's going on at this point, because your weather apps are going to show you one thing and what's another thing that's going on radar. That's where the confusion is right now. So biggest thing is at this moment, a trace to an inch will be possible with this snowfall and the sleet ongoing right now, but we shall see what happens at the end of the day here with this. So very light sleet in Greenbrier. Conway has sleet and rain, so it's going to be right in here. So like I said, radar is deceiving us right now. It has rain, sleet, freezing rain, and snow. I'm going to do something real quick, and I'm going to switch this over to our other radar real faster. So I'm going to go to this real quick, and we're going to see if we can get this taken care of here. So maybe for 1 second here. 1 second. Okay, so we're going to switch this over to our other radar to see if we can get a better algorithm with this right now here, because like I said before, radar right now is showing sleet, snow, rain. A lot of people are seeing mixed reports between rain and the sleet and everything like that here. So the sleet's not very far from us in Mississippi County. Clarksville is only a cold rain. When you go down I-40 just 5 to 6 miles and the ground is snow covered. That's exactly what we were worried about. The temperature's at 925 millibars. I can go back to this real quick, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here to kind of limit the confusion. This is what's going on. You have somewhat of warm air aloft. That's what's keeping you from seeing all snow. So this is what's going on right now. Some areas are experiencing sleet. Some areas are experiencing rain. Other areas are experiencing snow. And all depends on what your aloft temperatures are right now across the state. Some areas are below freezing. Other areas are well above freezing right now here. That's why you're seeing the sleet, or you're seeing straight rain, or you're seeing snow. That's why we're referring to you guys for ground reports right now, and I'm getting a ton of them in, but we're going to get to you guys as quick as we can. But this is what's going on right now in terms of the overall precipitation across the area. Sleet across Mayflower, sleet in Cabot. I'm hearing the sleet outside of the weather center right now. There could be some snow down there in southwestern Arkansas as time progresses. I'm going to take a look at something here. Derek has a very, very interesting video coming up. It just appeared on here, and we're gonna take a look at this. So maybe 1 second. Of course, Facebook will botch up the quality of this, but we'll take a look at it. We'll download it, and we're gonna get this up on our side here just shortly here. But At this point, there is sleet ongoing right now here. I'm gonna work on getting the location. I think he is. Give me 1 second. I think last I heard he was up there. At this point, he had to hang up for just a second here, but we've got sleet and snow ongoing across those areas here. So give me 1 second. That's in Morrilton. Okay, so it's in Morrilton right now. We've got sleet and snow ongoing at this point. So give me 1 second. Let me see here. I'm gonna go over to this, and we're gonna go over to that. We're gonna get this up for you guys, so you guys can kind of see what's going on at this point. But it is gonna take a little bit of time for that to get on our side here. So rain in Austin, Arkansas. Snowflakes mixed with the sleet in rain in Weldon. How much snow can Russellville see? Probably a couple more inches where this is over and set and done. Let me see here. Can't wait for it to get here. Like I said before, I know everyone's excited about it, but this is going to be a patience game at this point. Sleeting, Mayflower, Conway. The sleet's not very far from Mississippi County. I do agree. But like I said, radar is deceiving us right now, so that's why I'm asking about the reports at this point. Getting word of 5 to 6 inches of snowfall in the Clinton area at this time here wouldn't surprise me, especially with the snow starting to stall out up there as well. So I'm sitting outside, it's sleeting and raining, so it's kind of a combination of the both, but this is what's going on. This chart right here is explaining why everybody has mixed reports right now between rain and snow, or snow and sleet. This is what's going on right now in terms of this. This is why we use this graphic a lot, because you can see where the cold air is and where the warm air is at the current time. So I believe we've gotten that up and running. I'm going to go ahead and move this over, and we're going to try to get his video up. And this is going to come from the Morrilton area, so bear with me for just a bit, and we're going to get this up and going for you guys here. So I believe this was it. Let me double check and make sure. There's Derek coming back on the phone here. Derek, give me 1 second. I'm getting your video up across. Yeah, I'm getting your video up across the board right now here. What you got for me?
Alright, so I'm on I-40 now, currently heading back towards the metro area, just to the east of Morrilton.
Okay.
I mean, right now, roads are wet, but I'm concerned. I mean, people are driving 70, 80 miles per hour like it's not a big deal. So, I will say this, state police are out, they are monitoring, and if road conditions deteriorate more, they will be stopping, most likely, people speeding in the inclement weather. But right now, roads are wet. We have sleet and snow mix on I-40 into the Compton area.
Okay. All right, and like I said, we're working on getting your video up at this point. But guys, I'm urging you guys right now, and I know a lot of people are not listening to us, which I understand, because people think when they drive, especially like this, they think they know better and it'll be okay. But folks, you got to be careful out there. And I heard this saying a lot when I was growing up. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink it. So I'm gonna tell you guys straightforward what's gonna happen. Like you mentioned before, state police are out there. They're not gonna be afraid to stop you if you're speeding. I get getting home. I understand that, but at this time, you've got to be careful across the area, because that's what's going to lead to the accidents. That's what's going to lead to the traffic problems, especially on the interstate at this time here. So, Derek, I'm getting your video up at this point, and there it is. Let's see if I can get this larger so you guys can see what's going on here. So this is the video right here, and I'm gonna crop this over, and there it is right there. So this is the Morrilton area right here. And this is what's going on right now. So you can see snow-covered roads and stuff like that. Sleet ongoing right now. Very wet roadways at this point. The roadways aren't that treacherous because you are above freezing. However, you can see where the accumulation has occurred outside of the roadways, and these roadways are going to be very, very slick. So make sure you're taking it easy on the roadways at this time. Like you mentioned before, this is in Morrilton, Arkansas. You've got, like I said before, this is, I believe, Derek, you're seeing snow out there, aren't you? That is snow falling at this point. Yeah, that is snow. So you've got snow falling right now. Looks like you had a little bit of sleet there as well. So a kind of combination of both, of sleet and snow, especially with what I'm seeing on the grounds right now. But like I said, guys, you got to be careful on the roadways. I cannot stress that enough at the same time. So let me see here. I'm going to see more in the comments at this time here. Yeah, Rachel, yeah, and that's why you have so many wrecks right now here, because nobody wants to slow down. and you're gonna have to slow down. You're not gonna have a choice, because I'm gonna put it this way, and it's gonna be blunt, but it's either you're gonna slow down or the car is gonna make you slow down, and you don't want the car making you slow down. So that's what we're saying right now, guys. Take it easy on the roadways. State police are out. It's unfortunate that they have to be out monitoring all the speed issues, but guys, you gotta be careful out there, guys. The wrecks have came down significantly from what they were at the beginning of the live stream, but you gotta be careful out there. That's what's going on at this current point. So we're gonna go back over to, I'm gonna leave this graphic up, and we're gonna go over to our severe weather outlook real fast here. Not severe weather outlook, our winter weather outlook at this point, and I'm gonna talk about the snowfall totals. This is what we had at first. And like I said before, this is the current one that we're running with right now. Trace to 1 inch from DeQueen to Little Rock, Jonesboro. If it overperforms like it has done in some places, that's going to be awesome. But if it doesn't, then this is what we have at this current time here. We're going to work on getting radar back up here in just a little bit as well here. So could the rain possibly freeze overnight? Temperature is going to be around 32, 33, 34 degrees. So I'm going to say no. To that right now. I just realized something. I don't know why I try to get that radar up when I have another one up here. So hang on for just a second, and we're gonna get this up real fast here. So give me 1 second here. I want to see if I can restart this real fast and see if I can go over to this real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna restart this and get our radar back up and running. But anyways, it's not going now. This is the latest update from iDrive, and this is better. This is much better. A lot of people are listening to us, getting off the roadways and stuff like that. This is much better. So we went from at one point 16 car wrecks across the state to now 3. That is really good news. That means a lot of people are listening to us and stuff like that, and everybody's taking it easy out there, which is awesome news. So we're now down to 2 versus 3. So state police are out there. You got a heavy police presence out there. People are taking it easy on the roadways, and a lot of people are getting home. Now I'm getting a lot of reports of one in particular, 5 inches of snow so far in Newton County up there. And that's going to be just outside of Deere, Arkansas. We've got one in Searcy, Arkansas as well of 3.7 inches of snow. I'm going to turn the precipitation on. And at this point, and you're going to see, so basically, so this tells the better story right here. This tells the better story at this point. So I'm going to switch this over to our radar. So give me 1 second. We'll switch it over to our radar real fast here. But this tells the better story of what's going on at this time here. This is one of our little mesoscale radars here. So this tells the better story. I'm going to see if I can get this down, and we're going to expand this out so you guys get a visual on what's going on here. So this is what's going on. So radar at this point, you saw what our other radar was showing sleet. This one is showing rainfall across the air with some sleet ongoing at this point. There's your snow right now across the air. Now Mayflower, you've been like right there at the middle ground of this. There's all your snow back out here. Your dry line is rapidly moving northeast now, and we're going to see this continues throughout the evening at this point. But like I said before, this is not going to be our only round. We have another round occurring back out here in Texas and Oklahoma, and that's going to continue to pivot towards our area here. But I'll be very interested to see what ends up happening as this continues to push off towards the north and east here. So we'll have information coming with that at this current time here. But there it is. There's your snow reports up here. All your snow right here. And you've got rainfall, your battle zone right there in central Arkansas. That's why we didn't increase, even though model guidance had the snow, because you can see the battle ongoing right now. And I'll be very interested to see what ends up happening at the end of the day with this one here. So what about schools? Like I mentioned before, we're going to have all that information on the page. Just remain patient with us. At this current time here, we're working very hard to get that done. Roads are covered in slick and Pocahontas and having faster, and it's much colder than 32 degrees. Still more to come at this point. North Arkansas, you have the advantage because it got cold enough right before the dry air begins to come in. Now you're gonna have that short period of time, and I think Little Rock is beginning to transition over. Let's see what happens. The dry slotting has slowed down just enough. You may experience that brief transition over, but it is struggling to get to Little Rock, and you can see the battle line, which we've been talking about for the last couple of days, from Cabot to Benton over to Little Rock. There's your battle line at this time. It's trying to get here, but let's see what happens at the end of the day. This is not going to be your only round, by the way. You have another one coming out from the west at this current point here. But you can see what's going on up here in northeastern Arkansas. All rain in southern and southeastern Arkansas, and it's a very cold rain at that as well here. So let me see here. Just stepped outside to see if it's sleet, and it's to see if the rain and sleet was accumulating on the trees, and it isn't. So that's great news at this point. All my notifications on Facebook are on, but Facebook doesn't tell me when you're on live. That's why we offered the Discord, but Discord was making a lot of people upset, so we had to back away from that idea for a bit. But that's the biggest reason why, because Facebook doesn't send the notifications out. It doesn't. So we were trying to find a way around it to kind of counter that at this point here. But I'm not sure why is that the case at this time here. So yes, the second round will bring snow across the board. When does the heaviest band come into northern Arkansas? That's what's going on at this point. It's beginning to make its way northward at this current time here. So I think that is mainly it across the area. Mount Home, you're going to have a few, this round that's coming in, you're going to have a few more coming in at this point. You've got a report of 3 inches of snow just south of Mount Home at this point. So a couple more inches will be possible up there over the next couple of hours. You're going to be stuck up there in the snow for the next couple of hours as well. Central Arkansas, I think your time is running out for snowfall for this event. Not for this event, for this first round, but your second round is going to come in later on. We can zoom this out and show you guys what's going on. Look what's going on out here with your second round. You've got 2 to 3 inch snowfall rates going on over here with your second round. So stay patient. Like I said before, we're not saying that Little Rock's going to see a significant amount of snow. I want to make that perfectly clear. We're not saying that Central Arkansas is going to get this full-blown apocalyptic snowfall. We're not going to see that, okay? But you are going to experience some snowfall as we get towards late tonight, first part of your Wednesday morning. But I think time is running out for the Little Rock area here, but time is increasing for Russellville, Searcy, Jonesboro, Mount Home up here in northern Arkansas. I think the dry slot just got to us too quick for us to completely transition over, but it will help bring the temperatures down as well. Derek, what you got?
Man, I tell you what, right now we're just monitoring our traffic. The further east I go towards Conway, the less the snow is accumulated. Roads are pretty much wet. Again, temperatures are coming up a few degrees as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about temperature. It's all about elevation. You're going to get snowfall. The question is going to be, will the temperatures be cold enough for it to stick here on out?
Yep. That's gonna be the biggest question here, and that's why we haven't really changed our map. So let's go back over to this real quickly, and this is what we've got. Like I mentioned before, we haven't changed our map at all. This is what we're gonna stick with this event. A trace to 1 inch in Little Rock, trace to an inch down there at DeQueen, the Daisy area, Hot Springs. I've got you 1 and 3 right now. Let's see what happens with the second round. Up there in the Ozarks, you're getting your snow right now. Ouachita, same thing with you. Northeastern Arkansas as well. So we're going to leave it with this at this point. I don't see us increasing or anything like that because I mentioned before, I think Central Arkansas's time is coming to an end with this particular round, and you have a second round coming in on the back side of the low at this current time here. So let me take a look at that real quickly here. Let me double check everything right now, and I think that's it. Oh, by the way, Thunder and Bono. Claire, we can try to get that, and we'll see if we can get that going. But Thunder's ongoing in Bono, which is in northeastern Arkansas right now. So they're getting thunderstorms up there right now in that area here. So let me see here. I think that is really it in terms of all the questions and all the comments, stuff like that. Gabe, that's going to be a no because your system is way too far to the south here. So my biggest thing is, even with the system going to the south, that warm air advection in southeastern Arkansas is just, it's stout. It is very, very strong, and the presence is definitely there. Let's see if we can transition over real quick, and especially in Little Rock. I don't think it's going to affect the downtown areas. I think it's going to affect mainly the northern portions of Pulaski County, and probably the Cabot area and everything like that. But time is running out for this first round. And then your second round is going to come in, and we'll see what ends up happening with that here, guys. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated. I think that, what you got for me there, real quick?
Just real quick, you coming into Conway, heavy snow has started in Conway now.
Yeah. So I see what's going on here, and you can take a look. Let's go at the radar for just that moment, and there it is right there. So there's your snow coming in, and I mean, there's your warm area advection. You can see as clear as day where your warm area advection is just fighting that snow from coming into the Little Rock area here. So right now, trace to a half an inch will be, not trace to a half an inch, trace to an inch will be the great call for this area. But let's see what happens during the overnight hours. But the first round is getting out of here very, very quickly. North Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, enjoy the snow that's coming our way here. But for us here in Little Rock, I just don't see it. You may see a brief bit where you transition over, but I just don't see it right now here. I think Mulliganis was kind of overreaching a little bit in terms of the HR and the wrap for trying to transition this over. But let's see what happens with the second round out towards our west and southwest as we get towards the evening and into the night here, guys. So I think that's it in terms of all the questions and everything like that. I'm double checking everything real quickly. I think we're good. Okay, so I've gone over everything right now here, guys. We're still going to be here. I think this is probably going to be one of our last live streams for this event. But we are going to have posts on the page and stuff like that. So that's all I got for you guys right now. The biggest thing I'm urging, stay with us, stay patient, and stay respectful, guys, because I know a lot of people are going to be upset with this event, with them not seeing snow and seeing photos of other people getting this massive 4 to 5 inches of snowfall. So stay patient, guys, and just be respectful to everybody. And we'll continue to keep you guys updated right here, your source for all things Arkansas weather.